Hearing the woman's words, the bar girl immediately nodded and left. She knew this woman, of course. Everyone at the bar called her Sistering. She was the one who had brought the blue flower blue leaf wine idea to their bar. She had brought the main ingredients for the wine, but not many people knew about it, so there weren't many sales. For the sales to get better, she stayed at the bar to sell the blue flower blue leaf wine. Hearing the woman's words, the bar girl immediately nodded and left. She knew this woman, of course. Everyone at the bar called her Sistering. She was the one who had brought the blue flower blue leaf wine idea to their bar. She had brought the main ingredients for the wine, but not many people knew about it, so there weren't many sales. For the sales to get better, she stayed at the bar to sell the blue flower blue leaf wine. Her way of promoting the wine was different to others, perhaps even strange. She would only promote it to strangers. She never promoted it to people she knew. And she only promoted it once and paid for it herself. The more foreign the customer was, the more she liked to promote it, but she would never promote it again to the same person, no matter what. And she didn't pay for every customer. She only paid for a rare few. For most of them, she would just say, "Would you like a cup of blue flower blue leaf wine? It's not bad." Her strategy was too simple. The boss of the bar had told her many times that this way of promoting wasn't good. Even if there were interested customers, they would be put off by her coldness. Despite so, she still promoted her wine to strangers every day. To her, it seemed that the first cup was what was truly important. She never cared about whether the customer would come back for it or not. With this kind of advertising, the wine did get better sales, but it was only because the color of the wine was good. If the wine hadn't been advertised by her, perhaps the bar would have rejected it. "Blue flower blue leaf wine," Yemo said subconsciously. He never thought there would be such a coincidence, a wine with the same name as the plant he grew. The woman smiled. "Yes, the wine is not bad. I've never seen you in this bar before. You've probably never tried it before." Yemo nodded. "Yes, I've never had it, but the name sounds familiar. I'm a little surprised." The woman smiled. "You probably heard about this wine from someone else, but after you drink it, you will like it. Although it's still cocktail, it's got a refreshing taste." Sistering had actually said more than just a few words that day, surprisingly. Yemo shook his head. "No, I know of a grass species called the blue flower blue leaf grass." "What? You've heard of the blue flower blue leaf grass?" The woman stared at Yemo in shock. Her body was shaking. Yemo stared at this woman strangely. From her tone, she probably knew what it was. He had brought that name from Luoyu continent. How could she know? Even if she did, it should be Lu blue carrot. How did it end up being blue flower blue leaf grass? Did this woman also transmigrate from Luoyu continent? No way. If she did, it meant that she was a cultivator too. How could a cultivator be a bar girl? "Sister-ing, it's here." The girl brought 2 cups of the wine. Yemo turned his head and looked at the cocktail on the table. It had a blue color and it looked scary. He smelled it and his face changed immediately. It had the flavor of the blue flower blue leaf. Before the woman said anything, Yemo drank it all. A faint, almost indistinguishable sliver of spirit chi went into Yemo's throat with the wine. It was the blue flower blue leaf indeed. Although it wasn't very old, it was it for sure. How could someone be using that spirit herb to mix with wine in a normal bar? Not even the hidden sects are that rich. The woman still had excitement on her face. She seemed to really want to tell Yemo something, but didn't. "Have you heard of it?" the woman asked in disbelief. Yemo retained his composure and looked at the woman with interest. He studied the woman. She was around 1.7 Her skin wasn't too white, but looked healthy. Her hair wasn't long, and she was well dressed. Although she dressed seductively, her eyes didn't look seductive. If there was something really attractive about her, it would be her big breasts. Yemo was sure she hadn't cultivated ancient martial arts, nor had cultivation techniques. She was a normal person. The look on her skin was probably due to long time drinking the blue flower blue leaf wine. Yemo nodded. Yes, I do know about blue flower blue leaf wine, and I know it's a herb. I even know its other name here. It's called Dash. May I ask for your surname? There was still excitement in her eyes. She had intentionally stopped Yemo from saying the other name. Yemo stopped speaking. He could tell it was intentional. Although he didn't understand her intentions, he still chose to not say it out loud. I'm Lu Yingying. I live not far from here. Would you like to come over? The woman asked. Yemo was dazed. This was the first time he had met this woman. She didn't even know his name. So why did she invite him to her house? Yemo could tell she wasn't someone that loose. Why did she sound like a slut? Seeing Yemo's confusion, Lu Yingying said in a low voice, I just want to discuss about the blue flower blue leaf wine with you. The bar was busy, and her invitation was heard by the people around her. Everyone who knew her was surprised. She had been doing business at the bar for a while, but she only advertised the wine. She never sold her body. Yet, she had invited a white-faced, handsome young man to her place. The young man didn't look very wealthy, but he looked clean. There were many tall, wealthy, and handsome men there. How come she wasn't into them? Yemo smiled. He wanted to ask her what this was all about, too. This kind of grass was a low-level spirit herb, but no one there could cultivate it. But this bar used it in wine. It was like mice eating wheat, wasting food. He wanted to know where it came from. Just when he was about to agree, his spirit sense marker was touched. Yemo sneered. That was fast. It had only been an hour. Okay, but I need to go somewhere first. Wait for me here. After I'm done, I'll come back for you immediately. Then Yemo walked out of the bar without looking back. Before Lu Yingying could react, Yemo had disappeared. She ran to the door of the bar as fast as she could, but Yemo was nowhere to be seen. She pulled her hair in frustration. She had waited there for 3 years and finally had found someone who knew about the blue flower blue leaf grass, but he had left without saying much. Chapter 440 Underground Research Base. Chapter 440 Underground Research Base. No, I must wait for him to come back. Thinking like this, Lu Yingying sat down. When Yemo got to the Yuan family mansion, there were 5 people in Yuan Zhirong's room. There were 3 men on the left side, one of which was in his 50s and had a scar on his forehead. His nose was flat, yet he had a certain temperament to him. Yemo believed this to be Yuan Zhirong. There was a person beside Yuan Zhirong who was already in his 40s, but still looked very ferocious. There were 2 men on the right. One was the righteous-looking man that had been at the feast. Then there was a youth next to this man who Yemo thought was probably Yuan Qibing. Remembering how this person had sent people to attack Ning Qingxue on the plain, killing intent appeared in Yemo's eyes. If it wasn't for that Black Sun Empire, Ning Qingxue might have really been abducted. Dad, your plan this time was really seamless. Even if that you from Flowing Snake knows we did it, she won't be able to do anything to us. Today's news was too satisfying. Luo Yu is over. Pity if only that Ning Qingxue hadn't died. Things would be perfect, Yuan Qibing said. The middle-aged man suddenly said, Young CEO, Ning Qingxue probably didn't die. I received news that this morning an extremely pretty woman appeared in Flowing Snake. Based on the description, this person might really be Ning Qingxue. What? Yuan Qibing stood up suddenly with a face full of excitement. He only had the image of Ning Qingxue in his mind. Everything else didn't matter. A moment later, Yuan Qibing asked desperately, Uncle Ping, do you have her picture? Show me quick. The man replied, No picture. Someone just happened to see her from a great distance and didn't have time to take a picture before the woman went inside. She never came back out. But apparently that woman's husband also appeared in Flowing Snake, and he seems to be a higher-up of Luo Yu. Yuan Qibing was a bit dazed before clenching his teeth. No wonder Fei Yu was able to be chosen. I have to let that man watch on as I torture his woman. Yuan Qibing quickly stopped, though, as he saw his father sitting in front of him and felt that he'd let loose too much. Yuan Jirong scanned Yuan Qibing and said, "Put this thing aside. Women are just an extra compared to your career. If you can't even control this, how can I feel assured handing over Yuan Bay Corporation to you? If that woman was indeed Ning Qingxue, we must not touch her. The entire plane went missing, yet she is the only one that's fine. There must be a lot of people looking for her. Not to mention, Luo Yu is far from over yet." "Yes, father, I know." Yuan Qibing returned to being calm and acknowledged guiltily. Yuan Jirong ignored Yuan Qibing's reaction and said to the middle-aged man, "Wei Ping, I know you just came back, but please report Flowing Snake's reaction nonetheless. By the way, when you did it, did you do it cleanly?" "Yes, President," the man answered and spoke immediately. "This time, I targeted 10 customers who bought the beauty pill and the health pill, with 6 of them having bought the beauty pill. After they ate one pill, I inserted some blood melting serum into the other pills. No one will find out about it." Yuan Jirong nodded. "Although it's a little less than what we wanted, our goal has been reached." However, the middle-aged man said, "Yes, although I targeted 10, 6 of them died after eating it. Only 4 lived, but their faces have been partially destroyed. Go to the compound and watch over the creation of the blood-melting serum. We need to make it more accurate. Also, the WQ033 virus must be urgently produced. We can release it when Luo Yu collapses." "Yes, President." The righteous-looking man intervened. "Big brother, Li Chunqing seems to have a great background, and he's no simple man himself. Those last couple of times, the Senate wasn't able to do anything to him. I fear that once he consolidates his footing, no one will be a match for him. Now that he's responsible for the health department, I think we can start with the virus and give him a heavy blow. Even if we can't do anything to him, as long as we kick him out of Hefeng, we win." Yi Emo nodded. "So this guy is Yuan Jirong's brother? No wonder he could come to this meeting." Yuan Jirong hummed for a moment and said, "That can surely be done. Once this virus spreads, it will cause horror. I believe no one can withstand the responsibilities of it. Since Li Chunsheng is managing this sector, start from Hefeng. Though I believe we can choose Shitong Town as the starting point. When Li Chunsheng isn't able to keep his head above water anymore, you can attack him from the Senate, and we will find a suitable time to provide the cure and help you build up power." Yimo's eyes went cold. He didn't expect this Yuan Jirong to be this heartless and mad, actually using a virus to attack his political enemies. Yi Emo wanted to kill them, but even if he did, it would be of no benefit to Luo Yu, and the people outside would suspect them. Since he was going to attack, he would be completely destroying the Yuan family. Since we're going to attack, we need to kill them in one blow. Wei Ping, watch Luo Yu closely. I believe that tomorrow morning they will have someone give a talk. Before it's safe and clear, don't make any moves. Recently, Luo Yu seems to have been much more strict. You need to remind our men to be careful, Yuan Jirong said. I know, President, Wei Ping nodded seriously. Big brother, when I go back, I will have the city government make a notice prohibiting the purchase of any of Luo Yu's products. Then, I will ask Mayor Niu to hold a press conference. Okay, this will be the end of today's meeting. We'll discuss our next move after seeing how Luo Yu reacts. Chang Hui, you're Hefeng's vice mayor. No one knows that you're from the Yuan family so far, so don't come here unless there are special circumstances. Yuan Jirong nodded and reminded. Seeing them leave, Yi Emo sneered and packed away his camera. Other than that Wei Ping, who was near the yellow level, all of them were ordinary people. Yi Emo had decided to go to their factory to take a look first, but before he did, he took out a needle and shot it into Yuan Qibing's forehead. Yuan Qibing stumbled and was held up by Wei Ping, who asked, What happened to you? Yuan Qibing shook his head. Nothing. I'm just feeling a little dizzy. It's fine now. Yuan Jirong reproached. You're this young, and you're feeling dizzy. Binger, I hold you in high regards, but I want you to start putting your focus on the company and not on women. Yi Mo didn't want to listen anymore. He searched with his spirit sense and soon found a production factory outside the manor. The entrance was in a well. Yi Mo used his camera to take pics as he jumped down. Although there were many alarms, they might as well have been just for show in front of Yi Mo. The underground base was very big. Yi Mo suspected whether the Yuan family had even made it themselves. It was very spacious, with tens of men in blue uniforms checking bottles of serums. Looking at their white pale skin, it was obvious that they hadn't seen any sunlight for a long time. Yi Mo immediately took out his camera to take pictures. It took only a few minutes before Yuan Zhirong came down with that middle-aged man. As soon as he came, a researcher started to explain the progress to him. He had to admit that these facilities were very secretive. It would be almost impossible for others to take pictures of this. Pity that Yuan Zhirong had encountered a cultivator. Although Yi Mo had already come out of the underground room, he had to commend Yuan Zhirong for his cruelty. Not only had he built the base underground, he also had planted 7 or 8 bombs. Although Yi Mo had already come out of the underground room, he had to commend Yuan Zhirong for his cruelty. Not only had he built the base underground, he also had planted 7 or 8 bombs. This wasn't the first time Yi Mo had to deal with bombs. Yi Mo was going to dig them all out and bury them around their mansion. The mansion probably cost around a few $100 million to have it built. He wondered what Yuan Zhirong would feel when he pressed the button and his own mansion was blown away. Although Yi Mo also wanted to place a few at their office building, but he thought that would cost the life of a lot of innocent people, so he stopped that thought. Yi Mo shook his head. He wasn't cruel enough. A cruel person would bury Yuan Zhirong in his building without doubts. 3 hours later, Yi Mo left the Yuan family's mansion. Luo Sheng was a bartender he knew sistering. He usually worked from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Although sistering was a promoter, she never stayed over 10 p.m. at the bar. But that day it was already morning and she was still there. She didn't try to promote her wine. She just sat nervously at the table as though she was waiting for someone. "Io, isn't this sistering? How come you still haven't finished work by now?" A casual voice sounded. A young man in his 20s walked to Lu Yingying and sat down beside her. There were 2 other young men with him, but when they saw the young man sit next to Lu Yingying, they sat on a different table. Lu Yingying frowned. She knew that young man. He had kept pestering her for more than once. She never gave him any chance because she finished work at 10 p.m. every day. "Let's have 2 cups of blue flower blue leaf wine. On me this time," the young man said. Lu Yingying said coldly, "Gu Chong, I don't want to drink with you. Move aside." The young man smiled, sistering. "I'm helping you do business." "Is this how you treat someone who helps your business?" Lu Yingying stood up as though she hadn't heard him and tried to sit somewhere else. She knew Gu Chong was an overlord there, but she also knew what to do and rarely messed with him. He usually came to the bar at after 11, and she left earlier. If it had been another time, she would have had a drink, but this time she was annoyed and desperately wanted to see Yemo. She wasn't in the mood to waste time with Gu Chong. "Brother, Gu treated you for drink and is advertising for you, but you treat him with this attitude. How can you be like this, sistering?" The 2 young men got on Lu Yingying's way. Gu Chong's expression sunk. Usually, when he saw that woman and messed with her, she never dared to speak up. Had she taken the wrong medicine that day? Lu Yingying had been listed as one of his women ages ago. Although she wasn't some rare beauty, she wasn't ugly. Her main attractive was her chest. It was too enticing. However, Gu Chong rarely came to the bar before 10, so he forgot about that woman most of the time. He didn't lack women. For him, if he could have a wealthy girl, he would take her. But sometimes it was another kind of fun playing with a bar girl. Lu Yingying's face looked bad. She knew what she had done just then wasn't too good, but she was too excited. Sorry, young Master Gu. I wasn't in a good mood. I will apologize. This shot will be on me. Then she drank a cup. Gu Chong laughed. That's how it should be, but... Then Gu Chong signaled his two lackeys. The young man who had stopped her raised his thumb. Sistering is really understanding, but today you've made our brother Gu angry. Brother Gu is magnanimous, but don't you think you need to give him something in return? What else do you want? Lu Yingying's face didn't change. She had seen this in the bar too often. If he was going to continue pressuring her, she wouldn't retreat anymore. The more you backed down, the more cocky these people got. What do we want to do? Sistering, Brother Gu admires you. So, today you will have to stay with him. From now on, your business will be handled by Brother Gu, one of the young men said. Lu Yingying's face changed and immediately said, Keep dreaming. Gu Chong sneered, You're asking for it. As soon as Gu Chong said this, the young rose his hand to slap Lu Yingying. Lu Yingying had been using the blue leaf wine for a long time, and, although she hadn't cultivated, she was agile. Before the young man could slap her, she blocked it subconsciously. However, the young man's strength was great, and she still stumbled and fell into a seat. Luo Sheng was worried, but he knew that he couldn't offend Gu Chong. But before he could call the police, he was stopped. Boss. Luo Sheng hadn't expected his boss to stop him. Luo Sheng, I know what you're thinking, but Gu Chong isn't someone we can offend. If you call the police, he will still be fine, but you would be in trouble and I would be involved. Sai, Lu Yingying is unlucky today. Furthermore, being in this profession, you would come across this one way or another. The middle-aged man sighed. Many people saw the scene, but no one came to help. Lu Yingying had a sliver of desperation in her eyes. She looked at Gu Chong and said, Young Master Gu, I agree to what you want, but just give me one night. I'm seeing a friend tonight. I will stay with you tomorrow. Gu Chong laughed. Although you're not some teenage virgin, you must go in bed with someone else after me. You're called Gu Chiong, a plain voice sounded. Lu Yingying had excitement flash across her eyes. She didn't think she was being rescued, but the person she was waiting for finally had arrived. You're finally here. Lu Yingying seemed to have 1,000 things to say. This time, she wouldn't let the young man go no matter what. In that moment, she actually forgot she was being oppressed by Gu Chong. Gu Chong studied Yemo and said in contempt, This was the friend you were waiting for to sleep with. Lu Yingying just realized that the issue there hadn't been solved. Her face changed. She didn't know if Yemo was the person she was looking for, but if he wasn't, then she had gotten him into trouble. Although Yemo didn't know what had happened, he could tell by the looks. Yemo didn't reply to Gu Chong and said to Lu Yingying, Didn't you need me for something? Let's go. Lu Yingying looked at Gu Chong and the others and bit her lips. She walked around the two lackeys, but what made her feel something was off was that they didn't stop her. Let's go quickly. Lu Yingying pulled Yemo and wanted to leave as fast as possible. Yemo smiled. Okay, let's go. As soon as Yemo and Lu Yingying walked past the two guys, Gu Chong and his two men finally reacted. They had felt their bodies freeze. Chase her. Although Gu Chong didn't know what that was, he wouldn't let food escape from his mouth. They're chasing us, let's run. Lu Yingying pulled Yemo as she got ready to run. Yemo nodded, but Lu Yingying's expression changed rapidly. She found out that Yemo didn't run very fast, and they only had been running for 1 kilometer before they were stopped under a tree again by them. Lu Yingying had finally found someone who knew about the blue leaf grass, and she really didn't want to let Yemo go like that. Why don't you keep running? Gu Chong scorned. Chapter 442. Very cool indeed. Chapter 442. Very cool indeed. Lu Yingying was still rapidly thinking about how she could make Gu Chong let them go when she realized that the youth she had pulled along had already walked up to Gu Chong. I was never planning on running. The reason why I came here was because I didn't want to cause a disturbance in the bar, Yi Mo said plainly. Yi Mo didn't want to be caught by the Yuan family because of his plan going into action. Ha dash! Gu Chong laughed first, but soon stopped to smile because he realized that this youth wasn't just saying stuff randomly. As soon as he'd finished, there were people getting slapped in the face over and kicked. Gu Chong's two men didn't even have the time to react before being knocked to the ground. The only sound he heard was that of bones breaking, but even then, his men didn't even get to scream. You. Gu Chong realized the situation wasn't good. Yi Mo walked up to Gu Chong and sent a slap his way. Gu Chong was smacked away like a fly. He spat mouthfuls of blood and crouched on the ground, looking in horror as Yi Mo slowly approached him. My brother-in-law is Hefeng Police Department's vice chief. You can't do anything to me, dash. Before Gu Chong could even finish, Yi Mo slapped again with multiple teeth falling out of Gu Chong's mouth. At this moment, he realized that his brother-in-law would be of no use as a backup. His two men were laying still on the ground, and it was unknown whether they were dead or alive. If this person had really just killed those three, Gu Chong shivered. If he were to be killed, then no matter what his sister did to avenge him, he wouldn't be able to come back to life. Don't hit me. I can give you a lot of money. I can make you a major government official of Hefeng. Gu Chong thought of all sorts of reasons for Yi Mo to stop attacking him. But when he said that, this man stopped attacking him unexpectedly. Yi Mo took back the leg he was about to kick Gu Chong with and looked at him coldly. Your brother-in-law is just a police chief, a vice chief at that. How can he give me a major government official position? Gu Chong breathed easy. Although he was beaten quite heavily, it was good that he could bargain with this person. As long as he agreed, Gu Chong had ways to deal with him. Thinking about this, Gu Chong wanted to trick Yi Mo crack. Yi Mo was far above the level of Gu Chong. He could see what Gu Chong was thinking just by looking into his eyes. Yi Mo couldn't even be bothered to talk and just kicked, breaking Gu Chong's arm. Gu Chong's soul was about to be blown away due to fear. He knew that this person really had the guts to kill him. He no longer dared to make up stories and said, I really do have a way. I have evidence against Mayor Nyo, which I can blackmail him with. If you use this to threaten him, he will agree to you for sure. Yi Mo thought Mayor Nyo? This must be that half-bald guy he had seen. How could someone like Gu Chong have evidence against him? Thinking about this, Yi Mo questioned in contempt. Who do you think you are? How can you have evidence against him? Seeing Yi Mo's doubt, Gu Chong quickly said, Big brother, I really do. I got this from my brother-in-law. He has worked for Mayor Nyo, and every time he did, he would keep evidence in his diary. Once, I went to my brother-in-law's house and found it on his computer, after which I copied it secretly. As long as Big Brother has mercy on me, I can give these to you. A mayor's secret could be caught by a vice chief of the police? This must be something not all too important. Gu Chong thought about how his two men had been killed before, and he just wanted Yi Mo to let him live. Seeing that Yi Mo was still doubting him, he immediately continued. It's because I knew that my brother-in-law has a computer that never connects to the internet. Every time he used the computer, he would turn it off. I figured this computer had to have secrets on it, so while he went to the toilet, I sneaked into his room and copied the files that were on it. Yi Mo sneered and stood on Gu Chong's broken hand, saying, Your eyes are dodging mine, which means you're lying. Don't blame me for not giving you a chance. You can be on your way now. Having declared that Yi Mo was going to kick Gu Chong saw with his own eyes how Yi Mo killed his two men with a kick. How could he let Yi Mo kick him? He quickly called out, Big brother, I'll tell you, my sister told me to do it. She thought my brother-in-law was going to divorce her, so she wanted to use this against him. I'm really telling the truth this time. Lu Yingying stood frozen by the side. She didn't expect this youth to be this strong. What shocked her even more was his cruelty. Had he really killed? Those two still hadn't moved up until now. Yi Mo sneered, not saying a word. Suddenly, a dagger appeared in his hand, reflecting the moonlight from under the tree, giving the dagger a frosty glow. Gu Chong forgot that Yi Mo didn't need a weapon to kill him. He thought Yi Mo was going to kill him and screamed, "Big brother, I still haven't given the evidence to you, so don't kill me." The evidence is about Mayor Nyo. It has his records of being bribed and political misconducts. Seeing that Yi Mo didn't move, Gu Chong quickly continued. A year ago, the water storage of Shitong town was broken by the water due to trashy construction which flooded many villages. That was all because of him. Yi Mo immediately remembered Sher Xiu telling him how he'd saved some people in a flood. Was that then? Keep talking. Yi Mo held some interest, since it involved Sher Xiu. Seeing Yi Mo finally have some interest, Gu Chong quickly said, "The mayor of Shitong town had great dreams. When he first came, he wanted to make Shitong into a touristic area. Seeing Yi Mo's continued silence, Gu Chong quickly added, "For years ago at the Yuanbei Lu food poisoning incident, 43 workers died. This was also suppressed by Mayor Nyo, who at the time was only a vice mayor." Seeing Yi Mo's continued silence, Gu Chong quickly added, "For years ago at the Yuanbei Lu food poisoning incident, 43 workers died. This was also suppressed by Mayor Nyo, who at the time was only a vice mayor." Even that could be suppressed? With modern-day technology, you'd have to be very capable for that. This was different from Yi Mo's slaughter in the hidden sections. No matter how many people died in the hidden sects, no government would care. However, Yi Mo wouldn't have expected something to the extent of a food poisoning incident to have been covered up. Gu Chong said these were homeless people the Yuan family had found from all over the place. So when the incident happened, it didn't matter much. Many people never even heard about it. No wonder. Yi Mo thought, wait, if the Yuan family really wanted to build Yuanbei Lu, they would need more than 40 workers. As for these workers, why would they need to be homeless people? Maybe to create that underground base. Yi Mo immediately understood. On the surface, the Yuan family used them to build Yuanbei Lu, but secretly, they used them to dig into the earth to prepare for the building of the underground base. After that was done, they were all killed. This was comparable to the means of ancient emperors. How did your brother-in-law come to know about this stuff? Yi Mo continued to ask. Gu Chong answered without hesitation. My brother-in-law used to be the mayor's secretary. Only this year did he become the police vice chief. So that was it. Yi Mo nodded. Bring me to the location where you keep the things you've copied. You have saved your life, Yi Mo said. Some things that weren't of much use to him, he could give to Sher Xiu as means for him to progress. Yes, big brother. About my 2 men. Gu Chong muttered shakily. Yi Mo said plainly they won't die yet. Once you come back, all you have to do is pee on their face. Gu Chong knew that Yi Mo meant that he had to splash them with water, but he didn't dare refute. He was scared he would die if he pissed Yi Mo off. Gu Chong didn't live that far away, so 20 minutes later, Yi Mo and Lu Yingying were taking away a storage disk from Gu Chong's place. After confirming the data on it, Yi Mo couldn't be bothered with Gu Chong anymore. He left with Lu Yingying without even curing his hand. Yi Mo believed that Gu Chong wouldn't have the guts to spill this. If word got out, this would be no good for him, nor for his brother-in-law. Come over for a chat at my house? Lu Yingying looked at Yi Mo with anticipation. Sure. Yi Mo wanted to know where Lu Yingying had gotten her blue flower blue leaf grass from. If there really was that much, he wouldn't need to worry about cultivation resources anymore. He would be able to entree the qi-gathering tertiary stage without a problem. Lu Yingying's place was not too far from the bar. She rented a 1-bedroom house. It was an old building, so when Yi Mo arrived, there was only a sleeping old man acting as the guard, and no one could be seen inside the entire building block. Even the road lights were a dim yellow. Lu Yingying lived on the third floor. When Yi Mo entered the room after her, he found the lighting was very bad there. Luckily, they were on the third floor. If it had been the first or second floor, there would have probably been a musty smell too. Yi Mo sat down in the living room as Lu Yingying poured him a drink. Yi Mo could tell the drink contained blue flower, blue leaf grass. But it was a pity that it had no use for Yi Mo, as the herb didn't even have a single flower. Although Yi Mo was disappointed, he didn't speak up. He knew that since Lu Yingying had brought him here, it had to be because of the blue flower, blue leaf grass. There was no need for him to ask anything before Lu Yingying started to speak. Lu Yingying also poured herself something and sat down facing Yi Mo. Then she asked shakily, "So, since you know it's a herb, then are you a cultivator?" Yi Mo thought for a moment. The term cultivator was a very ambiguous word. Doing ancient martial arts was cultivation, truth, spirit chi. Cultivation was also cultivation. Since she had asked the question in this way, it meant that she didn't understand cultivation. Yi Mo didn't explain the difference and nodded. "Yes, I am." Lu Yingying heard this reply and almost tipped over her drink. She suddenly stood up and knelt down in front of Yi Mo. Just as Yi Mo was feeling strange, Lu Yingying begged with a crying voice, "Please help me, Qianbei." Yi Mo frowned and said coldly, "If there is anything you want to ask, sit down and speak. I have something to ask you too. But if you keep kneeling down, then sorry, but I'll be leaving." Lu Yingying quickly got up and sat back in her seat. She wiped her eyes and said, "My family comes from a small, far-off village in Jing City, but my parents were never there. I used to live with my younger brother and my grandfather. My grandfather managed to become a doctor of Chinese medicine because he had been taught by a master and obtained some recipes and a method for cultivating herbs." "A herb cultivation method?" Yi Mo immediately thought of the blue flower, blue leaf grass, but that needed a certain amount of spirit chi to be able to survive. Even in the wild, it had to grow in places containing spirit chi. Although he could tell Lu Yingying's herb didn't even have a single flower, if she had grown it herself, that would be astonishing enough. Lu Yingying continued, "This recipe is the heart protection serum, and it requires tens of different herbs, being very complicated to make. Blue flower, blue leaf grass is one of the main ingredients. For years ago, a man in his 50s and a man in his 40s came to my grandpa to buy the serum. My grandpa rejected them, but what we didn't expect was that they would be so heartless. They killed my grandpa, killed my brother, and took our ancestral recipe." Yi Mo sighed. Lu Yingying was quite pitiful. Lu Yingying bit her teeth as she continued. "The dogs barking let the people in the village know and frightened the two away. When I got back, it was clear my grandpa wasn't going to make it. Before he died, he told me what they looked like and told me that if I ever find someone who knows about the blue flower, blue leaf grass, I can ask that person for help. He said that without finding someone who knows about it, I mustn't try to get revenge. Those people didn't know that the recipe didn't contain the main ingredient, the blue flower, blue leaf grass. Although it would still work without it, it would be far less potent. Why must it be someone who knows of the blue flower, blue leaf grass?" Yi Mo asked subconsciously. Lu Yingying calmed down from her excited state and explained, because the master who gave my grandpa the recipe was a cultivator, and he said that only cultivators would know about the blue flower, blue leaf grass. Lu Yingying eyed Yi Mo once before continuing. 3 years ago, the Yuan Bei Corporation's Heart Safety Serum entered the market and became their top product. Only then did I finally find out it was the Yuan family who had stolen it. I then chose to stay in Hefeng, in the bar closest to the Yuan family, advertising the blue flower, blue leaf wine. I wanted to attract someone who knew about the blue flower, blue leaf grass and find a way to kill Yuan Jerome. But in these 3 years, I haven't found anyone, nor have I had a chance to kill Yuan Jerome. In my moment of desperation, I met you. My grandpa said that if I encounter a cultivator who knows about the blue flower, blue leaf grass, I may give him the cultivation method and ask him to get revenge for us. After saying this, Lu Yingying walked to a cabin and opened it, taking out a disc-shaped thing from it. This is what cultivates the blue flower, blue leaf grass. You only need to plant the seed in an environment with fresh air and put the disc next to the seed. After that, the herb can live. Formation disc! Yemo took it and almost screamed. He was actually seeing a formation disc on Earth. Formation disc! Yemo took it and almost screamed. He was actually seeing a formation disc on Earth. It was a spirit-gathering formation disc. Were there really actual cultivators there? Was it someone like him who had transmigrated from the cultivation realm? Or was it someone from the hidden sects that could make these formation discs? There was starting energy in the disc, but he didn't know if it was spirit stones because it was almost out. It was a pity the starting energy had almost run out. When it was all gone, it would be useless if there was no spirit stones. It was simple to make a formation disc like that one, but the main thing was the driving energy, whether it was essential chi or spirit stones. This was very important to Yi Mo. Comparatively, this formation disc was worth nothing, because Yi Mo could make it himself if he had the materials. Moreover, he didn't need a formation disc to make formations. It seemed that the cultivators there were as simple as he had thought. Lu Yingying looked worriedly as she saw Yi Mo get lost in his thoughts, staring at the disc. She didn't know if Yi Mo would attack her because of it. Seeing Lu Yingying's worried expression, Yi Mo smiled faintly. This disc has no use for me. You can keep it. Lu Yingying's expression changed. Her heart sank. Her grandpa's words hadn't gotten true. Although she had waited at Hefeng for these years and had finally found someone who knew about the blue flower, blue leaf grass, he wasn't interested in her price. Seeing her disappointed look, Yi Mo smiled and said, "Don't worry about your revenge. I came to Hefeng this time also to get revenge from the Yuan family. I won't hide it from you. I'm the person responsible for Luo Yu in Flowing Snake. The beauty pill incident is due to the Yuan family. Do you think I will let them live? So, in at most a week, you will see them disappear from Hefeng. Are you the president of Luo Yu? Oh my God. The beauty pill and healthy pill are absurd, and you were the one who made them? When I saw that report on the negative effects, I knew it was someone trying to harm Luo Yu. It was so indeed." Lu Yingying stood up in joy. She was joyful because had Yi Mo promised her to annihilate the Yuan family, but she was also joyful for meeting the creator of Luo Yu. He was a legendary figure. So, you don't need to worry. When the Yuan family is annihilated, you can also tell reporters about what they did to your family, Yi Mo said. Lu Yingying bowed to Yi Mo once again. Thank you. If it wasn't for you, I may never be able to get revenge in my entire life. Yi Mo nodded. That disc will be of no use in a short time, so don't use it to cultivate blue flower, blue leaf grass. The ones you cultivated didn't even have a single flower. Its medicinal value is very low. Ah. After Yi Mo had left Lu Yingying's place, he decided to find a famous reporter to expose them and then look for Shi Xiu. He was going to give his material to Shi Xiu and make him go find Li Chunqing. This way, when Li Chunqing establishes his position in Hefeng, he would remember Shi Xiu's work. This was different from helping Shi Xiu because of him. Yi Mo had low exposure to the media, and so he didn't know any popular reporters. He thought about asking his friends in Beijing for help. Zhang Ju or Zhui Aigua would both do. Thinking about Zhui Aigua, Yi Mo suddenly thought of Xiao Lei. With these thoughts, Yi Mo took out Xiao Lei's business card. Since he knew Xiao Lei and she was a famous reporter in Beijing, he might as well call her. When Yi Mo called Xiao Lei's number, he just realized it was already 3 a.m. But since he had already called, he wasn't going to hang up. Xiao Lei was still half awake when the phone started ringing. She couldn't who was calling her at that moment. Did that person have problem? Xiao Lei had been working for the whole day and didn't get enough rest. So, of course, anyone would be annoyed at getting a call in her situation. Although she wanted to hang up, her professional behavior made her pick up. "Who is this?" Xiao Lei's tone wasn't nice. After all, it was very late. Yi Emo knew Xiao Lei's character. If there were bombshell news, she would give that top priority, so he didn't mind her tone. "I have big news here." Hefeng's mayor laundered tens of millions, and it resulted in a garbage construction that destroyed a few villages. A company is planning to spread a virus in order to promote its product. "Journalist Xiao, are you interested in these news?" Yimo smiled. "What?" Xiao Lei was shocked by Yimo's words. She had been a journalist for so many years, but this kind of news were rare, and it wasn't just one. "Who are you? How do I know you're not lying?" Xiao Lei retained her composure, and her tone turned cold. Yi Emo smiled. "We know each other. I wouldn't lie to you." "Who are you?" Xiao Lei thought Yimo's voice was indeed familiar. "Who was it?" "I'm Yi Emo, I dash." Before Yimo could say where he was, the phone suddenly hung up. Xiao Lei was struck. The person who had called her was Yi Emo, the man who she one-sidedly loved and had a wife. Why did he call her in the middle of the night? Did he use the news as an excuse? She couldn't believe so many things were happening at the same time. Xiao Lei's hand started to shake. Yi Emo was asking her out in the middle of the night. She had been taken by surprise. When she finally reacted, she found out that her phone was on the ground. Before she could think twice, she dialed back, but she realized she couldn't reach him. She didn't know Yimo's phone and his number had a special contract. If he didn't set the number, other people can't call him. "Out of battery," Yimo said to himself and called again. Xiao Lei was worried and sweating when Yi Emo called back again. She picked up as fast as she could and said, "Yi Emo, where are you?" "I'm at the Wu He Bar in Hefeng. I really need your help. These news are real. I need you to spread it as fast as you can," Yimo said calmly, trying not to get her to misunderstand him. "Is it really true?" Xiao Lei calmed down. She realized she was thinking too much. Yi Emo seemed to love Ning Qingxue a lot. How could he be asking her out on a date in the middle of the night? Even if he did, he didn't need to be like that. Xiao Lei patted her head and calmed down. She thought about it, then she used a slower tone and said, "Yi Emo, you can't say things randomly like that. If you don't have any evidence, there will be legal consequences. Don't leave no matter what. If you need my help, wait until come. Before I arrive, don't do anything. Even if you have evidence it's about a mayor, you can't spread it out easily just like that. Okay, I'll wait for you at the bar in the morning." Yi Emo understood her worries. She must have thought he didn't have evidence. But Yi Emo didn't mind. If she didn't dare to do it, he would ask Li Chuyang for help. This was a small thing for him. Even if he didn't have evidence, Yi Emo would still do it. By the time Yi Emo arrived at Shitong town, it was already daytime. Yi Emo didn't know where Shirxiu lived, so he called him, and as soon as he did, the phone was picked up. Shirxiu didn't sound sleepy at all. Yi Emo could tell that Shirxiu hadn't slept that night. By the time Yi Emo arrived at Shitong town, it was already daytime. Yi Emo didn't know where Shirxiu lived, so he called him, and as soon as he did, the phone was picked up. Shirxiu didn't sound sleepy at all. Yi Emo could tell that Shirxiu hadn't slept that night. He didn't know what had happened, but for now, Yi Emo just got to the temporary residence Shirxiu lived in. When Yi Emo got there, Shirxiu and Song Xiaotan were already waiting at the door. "Shirxiu, why are you living in a place like this? This Wu Zhe sure has got some balls." Yi Emo might not be in politics, but he definitely wouldn't let Shirxiu live in such a tattered place. Shirxiu's eyes were red, and the bags under his eyes were completely black. One could tell he hadn't had a good sleep for a long time. Although he was curious why Yi Emo had visited him at this time, he didn't ask. He could tell from Yi Mo's expression that he was very angry, though, so he quickly said, This has nothing to do with Mayor Wu or brother Zhou Ping. They are also very troubled right now. Yi Mo came to understand that there might be some other reason. Wu Zhe probably wouldn't have dared do this. After Yi Mo went inside and sat down, Shi Xiu started explaining. Back when Shi Xiu arrived, he wasn't admitted into the Senate due to his lacking experience. This way, he couldn't help Wu Zhe in the Senate, while the secretary of Mayor Hong, Zhao, was a rather domineering person. Before Wu Zhe's arrival, he already had a firm grip on all power. So when Wu Zhe appeared, he only had Zhou Ping to help him. Hence, they were on the downside. If Luo Yu hadn't encountered any problems, Wu Zhe still might have had some power, but it had been reported that the beauty pill had negative effects. Since Luo Yu was brought in by Wu Zhe and Shi Xiu, that only served to make their situation even worse. Despite Wu Zhe being a man of the Li family, he would turn valueless if he needed the Li family to help him with this. With Wu Zhe being alone, the situation was getting worse and worse. Li Chunsheng wasn't able to help Wu Zhe either, as he was in trouble himself. My job is pretty much a hollow shell now. Everything is controlled by Hong Chao's men, and Mayor Niu is Hong Chao's supporter. Xiao Tan and I discussed for the whole night last night, because she was trying to persuade me to give up the position, but I remain unsatisfied. You helped me get this position, and I don't want to give up before even having begun, Shi Xiu said helplessly. Yi Mo nodded. No wonder Shi Tong's dam incident could be suppressed. Even the secretary was Mayor Niu's guy. Yi Mo patted Shi Xiu's shoulder and said, Don't worry, I can solve this for you. You know about the dam incident, right? The one that enabled you to rise to your current position. Shi Xiu immediately nodded. Of course I know, everyone does. Still, the higher-ups suppressed it. I suspect that it must have something to do with Mayor Niu, but no one dares say anything without evidence. My instinct tells me that Mayor Su has to have been wronged. Yi Mo couldn't help but commend Shi Xiu's political instinct. Your suspicion is correct. I have evidence of Mayor Niu's money laundering. Yi Mo took out the card and told Shi Xiu to turn on his computer. Half an hour later, Shi Xiu was completely baffled. This information was so top secret that it even contained the schemes of Yuan Bay Corporation. Yi Mo this. He couldn't imagine how Yi Mo had managed to obtain such a thing. It was only yesterday that the beauty pill had been reported to have side effects, yet now Yi Mo already had this kind of evidence on film. Yi Mo was too absurd, too powerful. How could Yuan Bay Corporation even fight him? This was nothing but suicide. Fighting Yi Mo was suicide indeed. Seeing this, Yi Mo patted Shi Xiu's shoulder and said, I copied the info to your computer, and you may use it as needed. If you can't rise up now, I won't help you anymore, and you can just help me over at Flowing Snake. Yi Mo, you're my best friend. Saying thank you is meaningless, but if I can't rise up from this, I might as well die. I will be going to Flowing Snake for sure. After I get my revenge, I will go. Although I like politics, Xiaotan doesn't, Shi Xiu said. Yi Mo nodded. Then what will you be doing next? I will notify Wu Zhe first, and then go find Mayor Li and Hifeng. He's been really troubled lately. If he can get his hands on this, he will know how to use it, Shi Xiu immediately said. He knew his power was too low, so giving it to Li Chunxing would maximize its potential. Okay. Yi Mo was happy with Shi Xiu's reply. It showed how mature he was now. Yi Mo called Yu Miaodan and sent over the video he'd recorded and told her that as soon as she got his call, she had to post this video on the official Luo Yu website. Yu Miaodan really couldn't believe that after Yi Mo went out for only one night, he managed to get this evidence fresh from the press. The meeting had been recorded very clearly. No wonder Yi Mo had told her to get a good camera. Yu Miaodan really suspected that Yi Mo might have stood right in front of them as he recorded. Regardless, with this recording, even if they didn't do anything, Luo Yu was safe. Yu Miaodan put aside her worries and felt greater respect for Yi Mo. She really wondered how he had done it. After Yi Emo sent Yu Miao on the video, he immediately went to phone with Shi Xiu. Li Chunxing was feeling huge pressure when he came to phone. He wasn't an actual member of the Li family. Yet, as soon as he came here, he realized that the waters ran very deep in this city. After only a couple of meetings, he could already barely save himself. He was nothing but a vice mayor. Luckily, he was a vice secretary too. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be getting the chance to speak. Li Chunxing knew that however hard it may be, he couldn't ask for help from the Li family now. He had only been a vice mayor before, and only thanks to Li Qiang did he become a vice secretary for the Central Power. It could be said that he had taken this position away right from Mayor Niu's group. This might have been due to the Li family's might, or perhaps Mayor Niu was about to be moved away. Otherwise, Li Chunxing could never have gotten the rank. However, it was at the same time a clear sign that if Li Chunxing could make some good progress, the next mayor of Hefeng just might be Li Chunxing. If he received all this and still wasn't capable of standing tall, he would be deemed useless and might get dumped by the Li family. Li Chunxing knew that the purpose of today's meeting was to suppress his power on account of his mistake of bringing in the Luo Yu, which sold fake medicine. Li Chunxing sighed. He knew that this Mayor Niu was full of schemes, but he had to go nonetheless. Just as he was about to leave, someone unexpected appeared before his door. Mayor Shi, how come you are here? Did something happen in Shitong? Li Chunxing felt like this couldn't be good. Shi Xiu's situation was even worse than his, and he was on the same team as Shi Xiu. Something had to have gone wrong in Shitong for Shi Xiu to visit him. Hold on. Li Chunxing immediately saw that although Shi Xiu's eyes were red, his expression was one of excitement. Mayor Li, we can flip the tables this time. Shi Xiu could no longer contain his excitement. Li Chunxing's level of political awareness wasn't something Shi Xiu could compare with. He looked around carefully before calmly saying, Shi Xiu, come inside and have a seat first. Then Li Chunxing brought Shi Xiu in and closed the door. After looking at the video recording, Li Chunxing was frozen. After a while, he muttered to himself, amazing, amazing. After looking at the video recording, Li Chunxing was frozen. After a while, he muttered to himself, amazing, amazing. Mayor Li, this is probably useful, Shi Xiu said happily. Li Chunxing reacted and grabbed Shi Xiu's arm in excitement. Shi Xiu, where did you get this? With this, how could they even fight back? You're a really good right hand. Wait, Shi Xiu, how did you get this? Every single recording is full of information. Where did you get such a complete set? Li Chunxing didn't suspect it was fake. It looked very real. Shi Xiu had also been very excited all day. He pointed at the video of Yuan Zhirong's room and said, Of course it was Dash. Young Master Mo, Li Chunxing immediately reacted. Who else other than Yi Mo could get this? The supporter of Yuan Bay Corporation was Mayor Niu, and they were plotting against Yi Mo's Luo Yu. This had offended Yi Mo, and he had come to investigate. Did Yi Mo come to investigate? Li Chunxing suddenly had goosebumps. How long did it take for Yi Mo find such precise evidence? He was strong, too strong. He rejoiced for having picked the best side early. He had been on Yi Mo's side for a long time ago. These people probably don't want to live. How dare they offend Yi Mo? If Yi Mo was easy to defy, the Song family wouldn't have disappeared that fast. The Qiu family wouldn't have needed Qiu Zhongxin to go to the restaurant to apologize personally. Li Chunxing wanted to scream. It is your fault for being blind, Mayor Niu. How dare you act against young Master Mo? Something wasn't right. Li Chunxing immediately remembered Yi Mo's usual way of doing things. He killed them all. Why did he take the complicated approach this time? He had the power to end it quickly. Why did he collect all the evidence and make sure Xiu send it over? Li Chunxing was experienced in life, so he understood why. Yi Mo was different from before. Firstly, he had a base in Flowing Snake and had a group of people working for him. His past behavior was no longer suitable. But this way, it made Li Chunqing happier. It was easier for him to do things according to the rules. The second reason was that Yi Mo wanted to develop Luo Yu, and he needed to bring down the Yuan family overtly. If he secretly went to the Yuan family and massacred them, then although he would get his revenge, others would blame Luo Yu for it. The third reason was that he wanted him to help Shi Xiu. Thinking about this, Li Chunqing walked up to Shi Xiu and patted his shoulder. Shi Xiu, I'm a few years older than you, and we're friends. Just call me brotherly from now on. Just looking at what you gave me today, if I didn't reorganize He Feng completely, I would have lived for nothing. Li Chunqing spoke from his heart. Yi Mo had done 90% of the work. If he couldn't do the rest, he might as well die. Shi Xiu said, Brotherly, what do we do now? Li Chunqing said confidently, I will take away Mayor Niu's power. We can't rely on He Feng. I will call young Masterly. Since it's been cleared out, the martial police will be coming soon. I didn't expect Niu Jingman to be this bold. After hearing Li Chunqing's report and knowing that Li Chunqing had evidence, Li Chuyang immediately asked Li Chunqing to give his all. In return, he would give him complete support. What is it? Yu Miaodong picked up Luo Fei's call joyfully. CEO Yu, there are people from the government here who want to cancel our sales license, saying that we're selling fake medicine that harms its users. What do we do? Luo Fei sounded worried. Yu Miaodong immediately got up. These people were really shameless. Things hadn't even been investigated properly, and they had already come looking for trouble. It seemed that if they stayed low, people really would think Luo Yu was weak. If these people were already at Fei Yu, they would come to Luo Yu soon. What is it, Sister Yu? Ning Qingxue walked into the office and found Yu Miaodong with an angry face on the phone. She already knew that Yi Mo had the evidence he had told her 1 hour ago. Since things were solved, why was Sister Yu still so angry? Yu Miaodong explained things to Ning Qingxue. Ning Qingxue frowned and took the phone. Yifei, arrange it so that we record their everything movement. Let them take what they want, but don't forget to capture the process. And after they leave, immediately tell my dad to hold a press conference in Yu State. We will broadcast what happens live at Yu State. Yu Miaodong heard this and asked why. Ning Qingxue smiled and said, These people won't stop. Since they've gone all the way to Yu State, it means they will soon come to Flowing Snake. If they want to cause trouble, then let them do so. Sister Yu, quickly post a notice on our website. Say that there will be a press conference at Guilin. Say it's about the negative effects of the beauty pill, and that we will give customers all over the world a happy answer. Yu Miaodong heard this and clapped in agreement. Yes, we need to do it like this. If we just put it on our website, they'll think we're scared. But if we do this, will President Yi dash? Yi Mod was worried. He hadn't said anything about holding a press conference. He had just told her to upload it to publicly when he called. Ning Qingxue said calmly, He's afraid of troubling us. I think he would do the same for sure, but it's better if we arrange it now, so it can be live. Just as Ning Qingxue and Yu Miaodong thought, if Luo Yu hadn't posted the notice, the government officials going to Flowing Snake wouldn't have stopped. No one knew if Luo Yu had support, so no one wanted to be the team facing them on this. With Luo Yu's official announcement of a press conference to explain things, they stopped their journey. They decided to investigate after that. This announcement shocked the world. Although there were some cases of side effects, there were only 4. Many people suspected that Luo Yu was being attacked. Luo Yu's rapid reaction made everyone happy. It had only been 36 hours. As soon as this was announced, almost all the journalists in the country knew what they had to do. Their first reaction was to go to Guilin, but there were only a few flights each day. Because of the desperation and constant negotiation of media entities, airlines made available extra flights to Guilin. Meanwhile, Yu Miaodong and the others had already taken a helicopter to Luo Yu's new building in Guilin. When Yi Emo got back to Yifeng, it was still early. If Li Chunsheng hadn't been able to take advantage of the evidence he gave him, he wasn't going to wait for him. When Yi Emo got back to Yifeng, it was still early. If Li Chunsheng hadn't been able to take advantage of the evidence he gave him, he wasn't going to wait for him. As soon as Xiao Lei arrived, he would ask her to make it public. There was a great difference between the media reporting this and Li Chunsheng reporting it himself. If Li Chunsheng was the first one to expose it, his abilities would be recognized, and many people would think of him as a mayor who actually worked for the people. If the media reported it first, and then he did, the impact on his reputation would be less. Xiao Lei had just bought the plane ticket, and she was waiting to take it at the airport. Xu knew that there was going to be a press conference in Guilin about Luo Yu. If it had been something else, she would have gone there without hesitation. But Yi Emo had asked her out, and she gave it all up without a second thought. She couldn't help feeling impotent. If only the press conference took place a few days later, she would have been able to get first-hand news. Furthermore, she was planning on going to Flowing Snake and interviewing some people. It seemed like she could only go afterwards. There were quite a lot of planes to Hifeng from Beijing. Yet Yi Emo didn't have to wait for long. He saw Xiao Lei, who was dressed very professionally, walk into the bar. It seemed like she didn't think of herself as a journalist that day. She hadn't even brought the things they needed for the interview. It was 8 a.m., and there were few people in the bar. Just when Xiao Lei was looking in confusion into the bar that was almost empty, a voice called out behind her, "Xiao Lei, this way." The moment Xiao Lei saw Yi Emo, her face was full of surprise and joy. Although she knew she was coming to see Yi Emo that day, she was still very happy when she saw him. She had wanted to ask him out many times, but she didn't even know his number. "I came to see you today, but I had to give up huge news." Xiao Lei walked up to Yi Emo, as though she wanted to get some compensation. "It's quite significant that the great reporter Xiao has called off big news. Could you leak me some info?" Yi Emo felt that this time it was much more comfortable seeing her than before. Although she was still fond of him, she no longer had eyes for him like before. She probably knew that he was married. Xiao Lei smiled. "Of course, I heard this morning that Luo Yu was going to have a press conference regarding the beauty pill. They say they will give everyone a satisfying answer. Do you think this is big news?" Yi Emo was dazed and said subconsciously, "How come I don't know?" He immediately thought that it was Yu Miaodon's idea. She must have not wanted Yuan Bei Corporation to have it easy. But that was good. It could support Xiao Lei's report. Xiao Lei covered her mouth as she laughed. "I only got the news this morning as well. You're not in the media industry. How could you know?" Seeing that Yi Emo's smile was a little weird, Xiao Lei stopped. "I'm the president of Luo Yu. Don't you think I should know about it before anyone?" Yi Emo smiled. Xiao Lei rolled her eyes. "Nice joke. Tell me, what do you need from me today? You're my lifesaver. One word, and I came from Beijing to Hifeng. What do you think? Aren't I reliable?" Yi Emo nodded, "Very reliable. But this isn't the place to talk. Let's get a room." "I will dash. What? Get a room?" Xiao Lei's smile receded. She didn't think Yi Emo was that sort of person. They weren't even close, and they were already going to get a room at the hotel together. Wasn't it a bit absurd? Even if she had a good impression of Yi Emo, he was married. And even if he wasn't married, they couldn't do that so soon. Yi Emo saw Xiao Lei's face and realized she had misunderstood him. He quickly said, "I don't mean that. I'm booking a room because some things can't be said in public. I told you I gathered some evidence, didn't I? I want you to help me spread it." Xiao Lei blushed. What was she thinking? It was too embarrassing. "You really have Mayor Niu's dash." Xiao Lei stopped subconsciously. She knew she couldn't say that in the middle of the street. Yi Emo nodded and didn't talk. Xiao Lei felt that Yi Emo was telling the truth. At least, she could tell he wasn't kidding. Are you really the president of Luo Yu?" Xiao Lei just remembered Yi Emo's words and her expression froze. Yi Emo nodded. "Indeed, I'm the president of Luo Yu. Don't worry, it won't impede your job. The press conference at Luoyu is also because of the same recording. Half an hour later, in a hotel room in Hefeng, Xiao Lei was completely shocked by Yi Mo's resources. He has given her a very clear and complete set of video recordings. Each one of them would cause a huge thunderstorm. Who was Yi Mo truly? She couldn't even conceive it anymore. Luoyu was actually his company. They've just been attacked. And he immediately got enough proof that would mean the end of his enemies. He was a bit too powerful. Seeing Xiao Lei not talk, Yi Mo thought she was too afraid to expose these news and said, "In fact, I didn't know that my company is holding a press conference. If I did, I wouldn't have invited you over. I'm just afraid that if this gets exposed in Guilin, it wouldn't be as influential as doing it in Beijing. I'll do it. I'll immediately notify the people from the channel to come to Hefeng. I will do a special report on this matter." Xiao Lei immediately realized how valuable these news were. If her news channel was the first to report it live, their popularity would certainly increase. But Xiao Lei hesitated. It was fine to report Yuan Bei Corporation for framing Luoyu, but as for the Niu Jingman's case, it couldn't be made public so easily. She knew it was one of the taboos in the industry. Yi Mo could tell what Xiao Lei was concerned about just by looking at her face. He smiled and said, "Report it however you like, don't worry. This will also be published in the Hefeng Senate, so you don't need to worry about anything. No one would dare say anything. If you're lucky, you may get to interview some of Hefeng's leaders and broadcast it live." "Okay, if that's it then, I really have nothing to worry about." Xiao Lei looked at Yi Mo. She knew that Yi Mo meant that he had given the proof to Niu Jingman's political enemy. Yi Mo said again, there should be people going to investigate the Yuan family's underground research base. If your film team can make it in time, perhaps you can also get a live broadcast. If Yuan Jirong had known that these were the consequences of challenging Luoyu, then perhaps he wouldn't have dared to, even if he had 100 lives. Due to Li Chunxing being late, the Senate's meeting in Hefeng was delayed by 2 hours. Due to Li Chunxing being late, the Senate's meeting in Hefeng was delayed by 2 hours. Niu Jingman was planning on kicking Chunxing out of the game. How could he be absent? He wished to see Chunxing's despair with his own eyes. He liked the feeling of crushing his opponents beneath his feet. As soon as Chunxing arrived, Niu Jingman got some news. He sneered and said to the secretary, "Start the meeting." Most of the Senate's meetings were started by Niu Jingman. As for the head secretary, Qian Fenghan, he was just for show. He had 1 year left until retirement with no hopes of getting any promotion. Hence, at every meeting, Qian Fenghan's attitude was rather ambiguous. Most people had expected this, anyway. By the time Chunxing had arrived, almost everyone was already there except for him. Mayor Li is really busy. Luckily, we're all free, so we have time to wait for Mayor Li. As soon as Chunxing appeared, Chang Yao's voice sounded. But no one in the Senate said anything, since they knew that Chunxing might possibly leave before even having had the time to warm the mayor's seat. At this moment, it wasn't smart to offend someone who was about to leave. Chunxing wasn't old. Who knew if he could climb back up again? Niu Jingman glanced at Chunxing once before opening. "This meeting shall be conducted by me. Jiang Ping, make the records dash." No one ever objected, so Niu Jingman was very domineering. Yet today, as soon as he said this, Qian Fenghan said slowly, "I will conduct the meeting today. Mayor Niu has been quite fatigued lately." This was a very abnormal thing to happen in Hefeng. Ever since Qian Fenghan had come there, he had never done anything domineering nor prepared his own faction. Qian Fenghan was like an old man ready to enter his grave. He had spent half a year telling people that he was just waiting to die. For someone like this who was about to retire, it was unexpected for everyone that he chose to conduct the meeting today. What was going on today? Was this his last shine or something? Even Chunxing didn't understand this. Was Qian Fenghan on the same side as Niu Jingman? Niu Jingman immediately felt insulted. He had been very domineering, yet today Qian Fenghan took away his power without any premonition. He thought that even if the old fart wanted to do this, he could have told him earlier. He couldn't just slap his face like that. Everyone at the scene fell into silence. They had all intended to see how Chunxing would be leaving, yet now it had become a fight between Qian Fenghan and Niu Jingman. After getting angry, Niu Jingman clenched his fist, thinking, even if you're going to retire, I won't back down for something like this. Otherwise, when you leave, how will I perform my job at Hefeng? I require absolute compliance. Secretary Qian, you're quite old now, and it's not easy conducting a meeting, being rather complicated. How about you point out what you have problems with after the meeting? Niu Jingman said with a smile. Chunxing didn't expect Qian Fenghan would be making this move right when he was about to fight Niu Jingman. Qian Fenghan didn't seem to comprehend the underlying meaning of Niu Jingman's words and continued to talk slowly. I'm the head secretary for the city. Are there really that many problems? The citizens gave us all of our jobs. Since they did it this way, that must mean that I will suffice. Although Mayor Niu is very capable, your eyes aren't as bright as the citizens. Niu Jingman's anger dissipated, and he immediately became alarmed. Would a secretary who was about to retire use this kind of sharp language? What did this mean? Not only Niu Jingman, everyone else shivered too. What did those words mean? Everyone knew what Niu Jingman was doing, but no one ever dared to say a thing. They all realized just now that they'd underestimated this old man. He was actually a level or two higher than everyone at the scene. I support Secretary Qian Fenghan conducting this meeting. Chunxing was the first to react. He suspected that something was off. As soon as he was going to bring down Niu Jingman, Qian Fenghan wanted to conduct the meeting. This was too coincidental. Niu Jingman had a really bad feeling. He felt like Chunxing was quite peculiar today. He knew Chunxing very well. Chunxing usually kept a low profile, and he understood that that was because he hadn't stabilized his position yet. Why was he suddenly supporting Qian Fenghan, and what did that mean? Thinking about this, Niu Jingman smiled. Haha, since old Qian isn't afraid of fatigue, then I'll take a short break. This is the content I had prepared to discuss in the meeting. Niu Jingman handed his documents over to Qian Fenghan. Just because he had been taken by surprise didn't mean that he wasn't going to do what he had been planning to do. He would need to spend some time studying this Qian Fenghan after this meeting, though. Qian Fenghan didn't even look at Niu Jingman and said, I've been busy with work lately, so I haven't been really impactful in this Senate. Qian Fenghan didn't take the documents Niu Jingman handed him and instead said, we will be discussing 3 things this meeting. Firstly, about Luoyu investing in Hefeng and the recent news of their scandal. As for the second topic, Niu Jingman was taken by surprise yet again. He had only been planning to discuss 2 things this meeting. The first was about Li Chunsheng mistakenly bringing in Luoyu too. But how come there were 3 things now? Qian Fenghan didn't mind Niu Jingman's uncertain expression. He just said, as for the second thing, I will talk about it after we finish with the first. I'm very happy that as soon as Li Chunxing came to Hefeng, he brought over Luoyu's investment to Shitong. I believe everyone knows the power of Luoyu. Because of this, we can all see the ambition and capability of Mayor Li. Qian Fenghan didn't mind Niu Jingman's uncertain expression. He just said, as for the second thing, I will talk about it after we finish with the first. I'm very happy that as soon as Li Chunxing came to Hefeng, he brought over Luoyu's investment to Shitong. I believe everyone knows the power of Luoyu. Because of this, we can all see the ambition and capability of Mayor Li. Everyone was shocked, and so was Li Chunxing. What was this? Was he helping Li Chunxing? If Luoyu had been doing well, then he would be thankful, but Luoyu was in trouble because of their recent scandal. Why was he helping? Niu Jingman coughed. He knew that he had to speak before Qian Fenghan could finish his second sentence. He said, I was also very happy that Mayor Li brought in the Luoyu Corporation, but I'm worried now. We don't know who they are. They rose up in one night all over the world. This is very suspicious. I was planning on fully investigating who they were first and then bring them in. But Mayor Li did so without any precautions. He lacks the precaution that a government worker should have. If Luoyu was clean, it would be fine, but it has brought trouble to the citizens of Hefeng. There have been 6 cases of death and 4 cases of facial destruction. This was all because they used the Luoyu beauty pill. There has been 2 cases in Hefeng. I'm very heartbroken that this occurred. These heartless merchants are like a disease for our country. But our government officials don't stop them. Instead, they open their doors to them. My heart aches when I see these people. The country put you here for you to create a peaceful and harmonious place for the people, not for you to warm the bed for these pests. Although I'm just a mayor, I will not allow this. Niu Jingman sat down with satisfaction. He had to just wait for the words of other people in the meeting, and then he would gradually put the blame on Li Chunqing. He had arranged the families of those who had been damaged to come there and protest. Li Chunqing had no way to deal with it. The only solution would be to leave Hefeng. Clap, clap. Many members, even Qian Fenghan, clapped. Mayor Niu, good speech. We will not allow these pests into Hefeng. We are the government officials of the people. If we sell the people out for some profits, how are we different from animals? Hui Cheng said this with a face of righteousness. With this, a few more members showed their support for Mayor Niu, but Niu Jingman's confidence disappeared from his expression when he saw that there were only 5 out of the 10 people there on his side. It wasn't normal. He usually got more than 8 votes. What was going on today? Qian Fenghan smiled and said, Mayor Niu is correct. A government official that doesn't work for the people should go back home and live like the rat he is. Mayor Li, do you have anything to say? Hearing this, Li Chunqing smiled. He was quite sure that Qian Fenghan wasn't just a puppet. If he didn't do anything, that person was going to do something sooner or later. Li Chunqing stood up and said, Before I say anything, I will play a short recording. Although the reason Xiao Lei had come was because she wanted to eat with EMO and even go out and play. After hearing this, she knew that this piece of news was an opportunity that would mean a lot to her and her channel. The dinner had to be postponed. The priority was to get her channel to send people over. She trusted Yemo. If he said Mayor Li would agree to an interview, then he would. Yemo didn't have time to eat with her anyway. He needed to go check out the Yuan family. Although he had done his job, if the Yuan family found out something and suddenly ran away, it would be hard for him to find them. In Guilin, the press conference started at 11 a.m. on the dot. Despite having to come on short notice, there were still hundreds of journalists there. Most of them came from Beijing. Everyone, I believe that because of Luo Yu's influence, everyone is aware of what happened yesterday. Although our Luo Yu won't dare talk about how noble we are, everyone has seen our contribution to the people of this world. But some people are jealous. They have used all sorts of means to harm and undermine our corporation, Yu Miaodan said with ease. CEO Yu, do you mean that the scandal with the beauty and health pill was due to Luo Yu being framed? Reporter asked. Yu Miaodan smiled and said with confidence, Indeed, that is what I mean. No one expected Yu Miaodan to reply like that. It was such a domineering answer. This journalist was shocked. If he had known that Yu Miaodan would say this, he would have asked the next question already. Who was behind all of this? But his confusion made him lose the opportunity. A busty reporter in her 30s stood up. CEO Yu, according to what I know, your company's product has caused the death of 6 people and ruined the face of 4 others. The figure seems to be increasing. Are you trying to put the responsibility on someone else? Yu Miaodan glared at the reporter and said plainly, The reason our company can produce the beauty pill and health pill is because it has the power to deal with anything. We would never put the blame on others. I see that your skin is soft. I really want to know, do you naturally have such good skin, or did you use our beauty pill? If you did, then may I ask, why didn't you die, nor is your face ruined? Yu Miaodon's incisive reply made everyone laugh. The reporter's face turned red. She raised her voice and asked, CEO Yu, if everyone who used your product had those side effects, then this world would be a chaos. Furthermore, who knows when the symptoms might occur? Even cancer has a dormant stage. Still, I was asking if CEO Yu was putting the blame on someone else. Why are you avoiding this question? Or are you going to tell us who is framing your company? The reporter replied even more harshly. Does this mean you're suspecting that our medicine is faulty? Yu Miaodon asked. Yu Miaodon said with a strange expression, May I ask when you knew about this? Which channel are you from? Us, journalists, need to be constantly wary about people. Yesterday, Luo Yu got exposed and I heard about it. You don't need to ask me which channel I'm from. I can honestly tell you that I'm the Hefeng Night News reporter, Lu Tsuyang. I'm not scared of your revenge. Her tone was very agitated, as though Luo Yu was going to take revenge of her. Yu Miaodon also smiled sardonically. Journalist Lu Tsuyang, since you've known since yesterday that our beauty pill is problematic, why did you take one this morning? You nonsense. I didn't dash. Lu Tsuyang's face was completely red. Yu Miaodon said coldly, I'm the CEO of the beauty pill production. How can I not know about my product? After taking the beauty pill, within 6 hours, there should be a faint redness on the skin around the neck. It increases a woman's attractiveness. It is very obvious on you, and it's obvious that it has been less than 4 hours. If you don't believe me, we can test it now. Immediately, everyone looked at Lu Tsuyang. Her face turned red, but she couldn't say a word. Yu Miaodon sneered, You can't answer? Of course you can't answer, because you're just a pawn on the Yuan family's paycheck, and then you keep proclaiming about how you care about the people. I think what you care about is how much money goes into your account. As long as it gets you money, I don't think there's anything you wouldn't do. Yu Miaodon sneered, You can't answer? Of course you can answer, because you're just a pawn on the Yuan family's paycheck, and then you keep proclaiming about how you care about the people. I think what you care about is how much money goes into your account. As long as it gets you money, I don't think there's anything you wouldn't do. I will sue you for defamation. Lu Tsuyang's face was looking worse and worse. Yu Miaodon said in contempt, Do as you wish. Not only am I defaming you, I'm also hereby defaming Yuan Bay Corporation. Sue me all you want. Go on. CEO Yu, I don't want to help either side, but your words just now pointed at Yuan Bay Corporation. Are you implying that they are the ones setting Luo Yu up? Do you have any evidence? A reporter quickly caught on. Yu Miaodon said plainly, We always base our claims on evidence. Feng Wei, play the video now. I believe everyone will soon understand why I have invited you all over. Hefeng. All of the Senate members froze. The footage Li Chunxing had shown was too shocking. The side effects of Luo Yu's products had been created by Yuan Bei by injecting their blood-dissolving serum into the beauty pill, causing the death of 6 users and the suffering of 4. What was most shocking was that they had created a contagious virus called the WQ033 series virus. Yuan Bei Corporation wanted to make a profit out of selling antibiotics for it. This was too intolerable. Almost everyone directed their eyes on Chang Hui. They didn't expect him to be Yuan Zhirong's brother, wanting to use this to take a step further in his political career. Chang Hui, what else do you have to say? Qian Fanghan looked coldly at Chang Hui. He no longer seemed slow, seeming very decisive now. Qian Fanghan didn't expect the evidence Li Chunxing would release to be this shocking. Although he had some scattered evidence, He wasn't able to acquire decisive evidence, as the conspirators had hidden very deeply. Yet now, Li Chunqing took out such pivotal evidence. This dash, Chang Hui was sweating all over. He wanted to accuse them of framing him, but the recorded video was just too clear. How could it be wrong? He hadn't even changed his outfit. Who was it? Who? How could last night's events appear here? Chang Hui was close to breaking down. He only had one thought. It's over, completely over. Niu Jingman also looked at the video in disbelief. He no longer retained his composure. Chang Hui was Yuan Zhirong's brother? His head buzzed as he realized he had also been tricked. By Chang Hui, that is. They had been using him as a pawn. Yet, funnily enough, he kept helping the Yuan family. There was only one thought in Niu Jingman's mind now, that he was a pig. Chang Hui, so you're an animal wearing human skin. Secretary Qian Fenghan, this is our fault. I will immediately self-reflect and call people to take Chang Hui away. I have sinned letting such a man amongst us dash. Ji Dun stood up and said. Qian Fenghan waved his hand. No need, the people outside will take him away. We shall continue our meeting. As soon as he said this, 2 policemen with guns came in, and they dragged Chang Hui away. However, there was more. After those 2 left, tens of police officers, all armed with guns, came in. Ji Dun's heart sunk. The police took away Hui Chang without going through the police department. This made him have a bad feeling. He was the chief of the Hefeng Police Department, yet he didn't even know when so many policemen had arrived outside. How could this be called a meeting with so many police in the room? Not only Ji Dun thought of this, everyone else did too. Hefeng would be undergoing a massive change. Qian Fenghan didn't seem to care about what everyone thought and went back to his slow-paced manner of talking. Now, let us discuss the second point. This one is about Niu Jingman and Ji Dun's money laundering, and about Niu Jingman harming the lives of hundreds of villagers. This was no longer a meeting indeed. This was an interrogation. Niu Jingman was sweating. He knew things didn't look good already, but he just didn't expect all this to come so suddenly. He didn't even have a chance to strike back. He had underestimated Qian Fenghan. Harming hundreds of lives, Niu Jingman didn't need to think hard to know that this was related to the Shitong Dam case. But he would still hold his ground and wait for Qian Fenghan's evidence. Without evidence, he would still be able to strike back. But Ji Dun couldn't keep it up. Old secretary, although there are things of my job that I haven't done well, I can't accept this blaming me of having laundered money. Qian Fenghan smiled. This isn't blaming, you did it yourself. Then, Qian Fenghan put his USB stick into a slot. The projector displayed all accounts of Ji Dun's money laundering and other illegal activity, as well as evidence of him receiving bribes from Niu Jingman. Ji Dun immediately let loose like a sagging balloon. He finally understood why Qian Fenghan didn't do anything for half a year. He was collecting evidence and making them feel relaxed. Seeing Ji Dun get taken away, Niu Jingman felt relaxed. Luckily, it was only that evidence. Although it was still money laundering, this wasn't the worst-case scenario. Then, Qian Fenghan looked at Niu Jingman and said, The reason why you haven't been taken away is because you haven't seen a certain recording yet. Mayor Li, do you think there's something this righteous Mayor Niu needs to see? Definitely, Secretary Qian, Li Chunqing smiled. He knew that this was pretty much a one-sided battle now. The following videos made Niu Jingman fall into despair completely. It even included footage of him gambling in Las Vegas. Seeing the food poisoning incident and the underground base, Niu Jingman knew that it was the end of him. Looking at Niu Jingman getting dragged out, Qian Fenghan commented morosely, It's unfortunate that our good mayor, Mayor Su, wanted to make things happen for the people yet was harmed by pests like Niu Jingman. Thank goodness for Mayor Li this time. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have been able to find out this much this quick. I thank you on behalf of the country and the people. Li Chunqing quickly stood up and said, I was just doing what I should be doing. Compared to Secretary Qian's work, this much is nothing. Qian Fenghan waved his hand. There's no denying your work. What is true is true. I just didn't expect Mayor Li to gather more evidence in a few days than I did in half a year. It seems we need to give the important positions to young people now. As Qian Fenghan stopped Li Chunxing from saying anything else, he said, the third thing to mention today is that Niu Jingman, Hui Chang, and Ji Dan are relieved of their duties, and that Mayor Li will be serving as Hefeng's substitute mayor, and as its central secretary at the same time. What followed was a round of applause. Everyone clearly agreed. Li Chunxing sighed. This all came to be thanks to EMO. He engraved into his mind to, no matter what, never fight EMO. He had 10,000 ways to end Niu Jingman, yet he'd chosen the most complicated way. Only this was able to make him and Shi Xiu benefit the most. Okay then, most of our government officials are still good people. I will now have the police surround the Yuan family. This meeting is a turning point for Hefeng. What we need to do next is to face this crazy Yuan family and see what they're up to. Qian Fenghan stood up and declared in a loud voice. What made Xiao Lei very overjoyed was that not only could her channel broadcast live what was going on, but they had also captured Niu Jingman and his men getting taken away. What made Xiao Lei very overjoyed was that not only could her channel broadcast live what was going on, but they had also captured Niu Jingman and his men getting taken away. What is more, when Li Chunxing came out, he accepted her to interview him and invited their channel to go get the Yuan family together. All the workers in Peacock channel felt that they had earned a lot that day. They were only an average news channel in Beijing. But thanks to Xiao Lei's connections, they could broadcast something as significant as that in Hefeng. Not even Hefeng channel got to broadcast it. Almost all the higher-ups in Hefeng, the police, and many congregated reporters went towards the Yuan family's place. Lu Yingying trusted Yi-Mo. She had been waiting at the outskirts of the Yuan family's mansion. She hadn't even eaten lunch. Yi-Mo indeed didn't disappoint her. When she saw the massive crow coming, she knew she would get her revenge. Lu Yingying wiped her years off. She was finally going to get her revenge. She walked towards Xiao, lay ready to tell her everything Yuan Jirong had done. The same feeling of shock took place in Guilin and Yu State. The video Yu Miaodong had played shocked everyone. The problem with the beauty pill and the health pill was actually a shenanigan of the Yuan Bay Corporation. Yet not only had they done this, in order to dominate the market, Yuan Bay Corporation was going to spread a virus. The uproar this caused even exceeded Luo Yu's conference in Beijing last time. Everyone gazed at Lu Ziyang in contempt. She never would have thought that Luo Yu could take out such shocking video proof. No wonder they had said they were going to give everyone a clear and happy answer. What could be more clear than that? CEO Yu, I knew that Luo Yu wouldn't be capable of doing such a thing. I trust Luo Yu, a reporter said, and then asked, CEO, may I get a copy of this clip? Yu Miaodong sneered. She knew these people's character. If Luo Yu was on the downside, they would come to them and kick them. It was the law of the jungle in this world. Yu Miaodong smiled and said, You may download the clip from our official website. I don't want to disturb everyone's work. I will conclude the press conference. Almost everyone felt the trip there had been worth it. It was in a matter of minutes for the clip to spread all over the country, but Xiao Lei's channel still took the lead. The press conference in Yu State had been arranged by Ning Zhongfei and Li Mumei. Then she also released a video of these departments, threatening them to take away their license, among other stuff. Yu State was in shock. Almost immediately after the video was released, the government reacted. They quickly fired these people and gave back what they had taken. At that moment, everyone realized how powerful Luo Yu was. So great that no one would dare do anything. And they hadn't seen all of their power yet. In that moment, everyone's eyes were glued to Beijing's Peacock news channel. They were broadcasting how the corrupted Yuan family colluded with government officials, developing a virus and framing Luo Yu. Yuan Jirong sat in his mansion with a pale face. He looked through the window as the police surrounded his manor. His heart sunk to the bottom. Although a few minutes ago he had received news that a video of their meeting last night had been leaked, he calmed down quickly. He tried to contact Chang Hui and Niu Zihengmin, but their phones were turned off. Although he thought they might be in a meeting, he still had a bad feeling. Yuan Jirong still believed he could use his power and overcome it. But when he heard that Chang Hui, Niu Jingman, and Ji Dun had been all taken away, he knew things were not good. He had underestimated Luo Yu's power. It had only been one night, and they completely turned the tables. He needed to run away immediately, but he also realized it was too late. Yuan Jirong, you have been surrounded. Raise your hands and come out, a policeman said with a microphone. President, we have been exposed, Yuan Weiping said calmly. Yuan Jirong looked at the people outside with a green face. He really couldn't understand who had exposed him. Those who had been in that room were only his brother, his son, and Weiping, who would have leaked it. But Yuan Jirong knew it wasn't the moment to think about it all. He said to the police waiting outside, "We have 36 scientists in our manor. With only pressing the button of this controller, they will all die. I have no other requests but to let us go with a helicopter, and not to do anything in an hour." Qian Fenghan and Li Chunsheng glanced at each other and laughed. Did he think he could run away in an hour with a helicopter? Just when Qian Fenghan wanted to order the snipers to execute Yuan Jirong, his secretary handed him the phone. After the call ended, Qian Fenghan's expression wasn't good. No one knew what the content of the call was, but Yi Mo could hear a bit from the side. Agree to his words, let him go for now. The safety of the hostages is top priority. Although he knew this was unreasonable, Qian Fenghan couldn't do anything about it. He knew it was being broadcasted live. Li Chunsheng looked at Qian Fenghan confused. He didn't say anything. Yi Mo used his spirit sense. Yuan Jirong had a sneer on his face. He said to Yuan Ping, "Prepare the helicopter. We will leave immediately." "Binger, you dash!" Yuan Jirong stopped speaking as Yuan Qibing ran out of the mansion as though he had gone mad, and shouted as he ran, "I'll tell you everything. A year ago, the movie star in Ru came to Hefeng and didn't agree to sleep with me. I killed her. The 4 missing young girls in Hefeng 3 years ago were also killed by me. A master of mine said I could use virgins to cultivate. I also came up with the idea of the virus. Seeing him in this crazy state, everyone was shocked. No one understood why he had admitted all of this. But the more he admitted, the more unsolved cases became clear. Young C.P. Yuan Weiping looked at Yuan Qibing in shock. Yuan Jirong said hatefully, "This delinquent son, ignore him. Let's go." Yuan Jirong left without hesitation. Yuan Weiping glanced at Yuan Qibing and sighed. As though he could feel Yuan Jirong was leaving him, Yuan Qibing recovered his consciousness and turned back yelling as he ran, "Dad, wait for me! I'll die if I stay." But Yuan Jirong didn't seem to have heard it. After half a minute, a helicopter rose up and disappeared very fast. Yuan Qibing collapsed on the ground, whimpering. Yuan Jirong sneered and pressed the controller. "I told you to investigate, but you never found anything." Boom! The mansion exploded, leaving behind a huge mushroom cloud. Boom! The mansion exploded, leaving behind a huge mushroom cloud. Everyone was shocked. The police had agreed to his request, yet he still blew up his mansion. No one knew why, though. If it was about destroying the evidence, the base should have been enough. Yi Mo didn't expect that the power would be so great either. Even the base was probably affected. "President, something doesn't seem right." Yuan Weiping was looking at a screen. "Get rid of all communication. Go into stealth mode and maximize our speed." It doesn't matter if it seems right or wrong, as long as the base was destroyed, Yuan Jirong said. Yuan Weiping said worriedly, "Our base wasn't blown up. The mansion was blown up instead." What? Yuan Jirong immediately figured out why the video was leaked. Their family had been infiltrated. Spurt, Yuan Jirong spat out blood in his rage. "Luo Yu, I admit I underestimated you. If I don't get revenge for this, then Yuan Jirong's face was white as paper. He knew that he had lost completely this time. Li Chunxing saw that Qian Fenghan wasn't saying anything while the helicopter left, and immediately knew that this was a problem. However, no matter how strong the Yuan family was, could they be stronger than the Song family? Hence, he didn't worry that Yuan Jirong would get away. Seeing the helicopter leave without being stopped, Yi Mo sneered. This was just as he'd expected. This was a clash between higher-ups, but that had nothing to do with him. Qian Fenghan's face had, "This has nothing to do with me," written all over it. You big shots can brawl all you want, but there's no way you can escape from my eyes. I really want to see how someone will save you in this situation. The person who would try to save Yuan Jirong was pretty much a pig waiting to be roasted. Yi Mo didn't understand how his helicopter could be so fast, though. It couldn't even be called a helicopter, but rather a jet instead. Yi Mo didn't care about any political brawls. He wasn't going to let Yuan Jirong go. Even if he had to take a spaceship, Yi Mo would still chase him. President, should we find a place where we can get an alternative vehicle before leaving? Although our plane is the best in the world, it's just too big, Yuan Weiping said worriedly. Yuan Jirong's veins were bulging. He still wasn't able to determine who could have had such power as to relocate all the bombs from the base to his mansion. He had dominated everyone all his life. Since when did he have to suffer this hard? No need. Since they say they can delay the chase for 1 hour, they should be able to. If they can't do even that, then I'd rather die than give them what they want, Yuan Jirong said cruelly. President, although that thing is very important, anything can always happen, just like last night. Also Yuan Weiping paused. Yuan Jirong woke up from his anger and said, "Also what?" Yuan Weiping continued as he piloted the plane. "We're not even that big of a family in Beijing. If they go back on their words and disregard what we have." Yuan Jirong had regained his composure, so hearing this, he said after a moment, "Weiping, you're right. We have to rely on ourselves for everything. They helped us not because of how strong we are. Wait, these people saved me for now, but they won't let me go just like that. Weiping, find a place to land immediately. We can't take this plane." "You are very smart indeed, but your Yuan family is useless. A virus that was pretty much finished was given to you, yet you weren't even capable of spreading it. Such incapable people. For some minor interests, you went and offended a small company. If you don't want to die immediately, stop the plane at the Duanheng ranges." A voice suddenly sounded, seemingly very angry. Yuan Jirong and Yuan Weiping looked at a speaker in the corner. Even if they were idiots, they would still realize that they'd been completely used. "Who are you? Who the hell are you?" Yuan Jirong screamed at that speaker, calling Luo Yu's product just some minor interest. Who the hell was this person? Yuan Jirong had been using people all his life, but he had never been so utterly used himself. "You don't need to ask who I am. You just need to steer the plane where I tell you to. Although I don't care about that thing. Your life still has some use," the voice said. "How did our Yuan family offend you? Are you the one who gave the thing to Binger? Why did you do that? Why did you not choose all those big families but us instead?" Yuan Jirong's tone was getting crazier. The cold voice replied, "Because your family wasn't too powerful. That's why I chose you. But like the pig you are, you blew up your mansion instead of the base. The reason I saved you is because you can still be of some use." Yuan Jirong was dazed and said dumbly, I'm a pig indeed. Ha ha ha, I was a pig once, but I won't be a pig twice. If I really go where you tell me to, I will probably still die." You're just making me bring the thing. Even if I die, I won't let you get what you want. You want death? Do you not desire revenge? The tone was much smoother this time. Yuan Zhirong's expression was one of madness. My greatest enemy is you, but I know that I can't get revenge. If I were able to kill my enemies, my first victim would be you, and then Luo Yu. I know that even if this hadn't happened, when I gave the thing to you, our Yuan family would still be over. Wei Ping, let's die together. Steer the plane towards the rocks. Wei Ping answered calmly, yes, President. Then the plane charged towards the mountain. Hearing this, the tone of the speaker became agitated. Yuan Zhirong, you're crazy. Stop right now. That's right, I'm crazy. I can be used once, but don't even think of trying to use me twice. Yuan Zhirong's tone suddenly became calm. He ignored the speaker and said to Wei Ping, Wei Ping, you've been by my side for tens of years, and I eventually ended up taking you on a path of no return. I'm sorry. Yuan Wei Ping smiled. President, as I vowed before, from the day you saved me and my sister, my life was yours. Okay, Wei Ping, I'm a few years older than you. Just call me Big Brother. Yuan Zhirong's tone was very calm, and he had a deep sense of relief. He knew that no matter what, there was no way out. Big Brother, Yuan Wei Ping said without hesitation. As soon as he called him Big Brother, the helicopter crashed into the mountain in a huge explosion. Yi Mo, who was following behind closely in the air, stopped. He could tell that this was suicide. He didn't understand why Yuan Zhirong still sought death after having made out. Yi Mo landed near the rubble. Their bodies almost couldn't be recognized. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense and was sure that the two dead men were Yuan Zhirong and Yuan Wei Ping. Yi Mo didn't feel anything. The two got what they deserved. A small golden case caught Yi Mo's attention. Yi Mo grabbed the case through the air and opened it. The space inside was very small. Other than a diamond-like crystal, there was nothing else. Yi Mo looked at the crystal carefully. It seemed to be just a normal rock. So since he couldn't tell what it was, he dumped it into his storage ring. Other than that, Yi Mo couldn't find anything on the crash site, so he turned and left. An hour later, another helicopter arrived with 3 men in black getting off. They didn't say anything and simply charged into the remains of the crash as they started searching. Half an hour later, the oldest man said in a bleak voice, "There's nothing, no footsteps either, and it doesn't seem to have been searched. It doesn't seem like the thing was brought out." Although he was already in Duanheng ranges and the qi was better than elsewhere, Yi Mo decided to come back to find spirit herbs in the future. His business there was done, and he desperately needed to go back to Flowing Snake to check. Although he was already in Duanheng ranges and the qi was better than elsewhere, Yi Mo decided to come back to find spirit herbs in the future. His business there was done, and he desperately needed to go back to Flowing Snake to check. When Yi Mo arrived to Flowing Snake, Luo Yu had once again become famous. Not only had Yuan Bei been exposed for framing Luo Yu, but they had also been removed from the market overnight. This incident had made everyone remember the Si Yang milk powder incident from last year. This company had ignored their conscience in order to make more profits. They also got kicked out from the market in one night and therefore shamed. What Yuan Bei had done was worse than the milk powder company's incident. Not only were they harming the public, but also the citizens. They obtained their star product, stealing it from a family, after killing the grandpa and brother. They were really evil. If it hadn't been for this incident and the victim, Lu Yingying, exposing them, no one would have even known how bloody the history of the Lu family was. With their plans to spread a virus, if the officials didn't declare Yuan Zhirong to have suicided, he would have probably been eaten alive by the furious public. Although the Yuan family was over, they still had a huge fortune. under immense pressure. Their wealth had been seized by the government for public use, and a part of it was given to victims as a compensation. What is more, Luoyu was now even more famous, and their products were on higher demand. When Yi Mo came back to Flowing Snake, Ning Qingxue had been waiting for him for a long time. I want to go back to Yu State and have a look. Ning Qingxue had been waiting to tell him this. Only that. Yi Mo smiled and caressed Ning Qingxue's hair. I want to put all my efforts on developing Luoyu after I go see my parents. I'm thinking the same as Sister Yu. Perhaps one day we can turn this place into a city. This city would only belong to us, and no one would disturb us. I like it that way. Although I know it's not very realistic, this is probably the ideal for everyone in Luoyu. Ning Qingxue had grown up in a big family, and although she didn't participate in those schemes and shenanigans, she was still familiar with those matters. She hated that sort of life, but Yu Miaodon's suggestion about Luo Yu had given her hope. If the land at Flowing Snake could really be bought, then perhaps they could build a paradise there. The main thing was that she believed in Yi Mo. He was an immortal cultivator. Even if he couldn't become a real immortal, he could still build a city. Okay, I promise you. Yi Mo grabbed Ning Qingxue's hand. She knew how hard it was to make it come true, but he wanted to fulfill her wish. In order to do that, he needed power. Without power, that was just a dream. On Earth, it was too hard to raise his power. Even if he was the only cultivator, it was still very hard. Moreover, Yi Mo wasn't happy with Flowing Snake's land. But he didn't say that. I'll take you tomorrow, tonight dash. Yi Mo's mouth was blocked by Ning Qingxue's lips. Ning Qingxue felt her face warm up. She liked the feeling of kissing Yi Mo. After a while, Ning Qingxue looked up blushing. I can travel tomorrow on my own. In the future, I might have to go back and forth frequently. Furthermore, I'm already at stage 1 peak level. I can take care of myself. You have a lot of things to do. I can't let you take me there every single time. Yi Mo smiled. Although he didn't think that it was troublesome for him to take Ning Qingxue to Yu State, he respected Ning Qingxue's opinion. She could protect herself, now indeed. Okay, I'll teach you how to use fireballs tonight. I also have a qi increasing pill with me. I'll try to get you into stage 2 tonight, he said. However, Ning Qingxue put her arms around Yi Mo's neck and said, You can teach me these later. Tonight, I'll stay with you. Yi Mo and Silver sent Ning Qingxue off to the plane before going back to the company. Silver couldn't be taken on the plane, so she could only stay and let Yi Mo take care of her. Because Ning Qingxue hadn't learned the fireball the previous night, Yi Mo could only give her a few qi increasing pills and all of his fireball charms. He had slept with Ning Qingxue last night, but they hadn't broken the final barrier. Although Yi Mo knew that if he wanted, Ning Qingxue wouldn't reject him, he still wanted to find Luo Ying first. He had been with Luo Ying in Luoyu continent. She had saved him more than once. What is more, she had almost lost her life saving him before transmigrating there. He owed Luo Ying 2 li for reincarnations. So, in his heart his master was in the same place as Ning Qingxue. One thing Yi Mo hadn't said was that when he could really build a city like Ning Qingxue wished, he would organize the greatest wedding for them together. Ning Qingxue knew what Yi Mo was thinking. She just embraced him for the rest night. Although they didn't do anything more, it was enough for Ning Qingxue. As long as she was with Yi Mo, she was happy. If Ning Qingxue really hadn't seen her parents for some time, and if there weren't problems with Fei Yu, Ning Qingxue in reality wouldn't have wanted to leave Yi Mo. Yi Mo knew he still needed to increase his power. He couldn't take on an entire army, much less a country. If even in the hidden sects he wasn't invincible, in the inner hidden sects it was quite complicated. Even the monk Wu Dan was on a par with him. Who could be sure that the only master in the outer hidden sects was Wu Dao? Furthermore, Yi Mo wasn't fighting alone now. He had his family, wife, and friends. Even if he could run away, they would be in great danger. Although he hadn't been to the inner hidden sects, Yemo was sure there were people stronger than him, and not just one or two. But even so, he still needed to go to increase his power and find spirit herbs. He also needed to take revenge on Tai Yi for almost killing Ning Qingxue. He wasn't going to tell her about this. Before going to the inner hidden sects, Yemo still wanted to see the place where Zhang Zhihui had gone missing. In Flowing Snake, Yemo had stayed in his room, making magic artifacts the entire day. Before he left, he wanted to give everyone important to him a defense artifact. When Yemo was done, he put them away in his ring. He immediately after sensed someone entering his room. Yemo was shook. Who was entering his room? He had just found out. Since when had a master like this arrived to Flowing Snake? Who are you? Yemo suddenly turned around and saw a figure by the window. The person by the window seemed very shocked that Yemo was able to notice him, and stuttered in Chinese, Did you detect my arrival? The person by the window seemed very shocked that Yemo was able to notice him, and stuttered in Chinese, Did you detect my arrival? Save the **T. Tell me who you are, or you won't have a chance to talk again, Yemo said coldly. Even if this person told him who he was, Yemo still wasn't going to let him go. That room was Ning Qingshue's. If he hadn't been there that day, Ning Qingxue would have been by herself. How could Yemo let a stranger who snuck into her room go? The reason Yemo had asked was to see if there was anyone else involved. The man was a foreigner. He had white skin and a small figure. Although Yemo had spirit sense, he couldn't keep it out 24/7. But even if he didn't, Yemo could still feel anyone coming near him. This was the first time he hadn't noticed a person, and this had raised alarm bells for Yemo. As soon as Yemo spoke, another man jumped inside. He was much bulkier than the other man. This was a black man. Yemo scanned his spirit sense out. There was actually a third man outside. Yemo sneered, but stayed quiet about it. No chance, the first man repeated and laughed. Then he said sardonically, You say we have no chance? Do you know I can kill you simply by waving my hand? The other man also didn't move nor say anything. It was as though Yemo didn't exist in his eyes. There were 2 white men and 1 black man. Yemo was confused. Since when was he in conflict with those foreigners? Why did they want to capture Qingxue? They had a strange qi around them. It wasn't like the qi wave of ancient martial arts cultivators, nor like his spirit qi. It was very subtle, but as strong as the power of ancient martial arts, so Yemo couldn't judge how strong they really were. To be honest, Yemo had never seen such power before, and he didn't know what they were cultivating. Yemo just asked coldly, I don't know you. Why are you here? You're unlucky. Why are you in Ms. Ning's room? Oh, are you her man? Ms. Ning Qingxue is quite pretty, but don't worry. We're here to invite her to our headquarters. We have no ill will. But it's very troublesome that you know about this. However, if you tell us where she went, we can let you go, the first man said casually. Yemo's expression was cold. Ning Qingxue didn't know these people for sure. Why did they want her? Yemo suddenly realized something. Eden must have told what Ning Qingxue had said to the U.S. government, and now they wanted her for information. Because this matter was confidential, the U.S. military wanted to abduct Ning Qingxue, so the Chinese military couldn't find out. One really can't be too kind-hearted. Yemo had killing intent. If he had killed Eden, then nothing would have happened. But he hadn't killed Eden, nor the pirate. Although Yemo knew it wasn't Eden's fault, in the cultivation realm dead people were the safest. The foreigner noticed Yemo's killing intent. He sneered. It seems that Ms. Ning has told you about the incident, and you know how serious it is. If you're willing to come with us, we can let you live." Yi Mo sneered. "I really wanted you to piss off, but now you no longer have that chance." As soon as Yi Mo said this, he swept 2 wind blades at the 2 men, followed up by 2 fireballs. He didn't need to have mercy on these stupid foreigners. PSH, the first man dodged the lethal strike with extremely rapid speed, so Yi Mo only managed to cut one of his arm off. The fireball turned that arm into ashes, but it didn't hurt his vital organs. The other man completely dodged the wind blade and fireball, and he shot back a spark of lightning. It was the first time Yi Mo saw someone as fast as these 2. They were no lesser than ancient martial artists. Lightning-style attack was rather strong in the cultivation realm. Only those who had a lightning spiritual root could use it. Yi Mo hadn't expected to see someone use lightning style on Earth. His heart sunk. Had he encountered a cultivator with lightning spiritual root? If he had, then Yi Mo wouldn't be able to survive that night. But Yi Mo soon found out that he could dodge that lightning strike easily. It didn't have the lock-on of a strong spirit sense. It struck the floor, creating a large hole. Was this even a lightning-style attack? Yi Mo felt strange. He had never seen a lightning attack as bad as this one. Even the weakest lightning spiritual root cultivator could use lightning arts much better than that. He's a wind and fire type mutant, and he has reached level 4. We will retreat and request for backup, the white man who hadn't come in said in English. Yi Mo just woke up from his shock and realized that the 2 intruders were retreating. Regardless, since they had come, Yi Mo wasn't going to let them go. That lightning strike couldn't damage him. But if he let them go, that would be real disaster. If their lightning-style cultivation reached a certain state, even he wouldn't be a match for them. The first man was shorter and seemed to be agile. Furthermore, he knew Chinese. Yi Mo threw 3 wind blades after him before they jumped out of the window. The man already had an arm cut off. With a few more wind blades, he would be sliced into pieces and fall on the ground. The lightning-style man was tall and very fast. After seeing his teammate get killed, he threw 2 more lightning strikes at Yi Mo. Yi Mo could feel that that lightning strike was even weaker than the one before. He shouldn't bother dodging it, so he just went past it and threw a fireball at that man's back. Yi Mo thought that since they could dodge his wind blade and fireball, they would dodge that fireball for sure. But as soon as he did, the next wind blade would slice off their legs. What Yi Mo didn't expect was that who he considered the strongest lightning-style cultivator couldn't even dodge his fireball as he ran. He was just burned into ashes. Yi Mo was dazed. Why was it that easy? It was as though he had used huge amounts of power to lift up something heavy, only to find out it was hollow and made out of plastic. Could lightning-style cultivators really be that weak? Yi Mo shook his head and put down the thought. There had been one more. But when Yi Mo searched for him, he was already out of his spirit sense range. Yi Mo thought about what just happened. He wanted Sui Wahua to investigate, but there were mountains all around Flowing Snake. It was impossible for the current state of Flowing Snake to lock someone good down. Unless this place became a city. A city? Yi Mo realized that he might actually have to build a city there. Yi Mo walked to the lightning-style man's body and didn't feel that he cultivated lightning steel cultivation method, nor spirit chi. That man wasn't a Dao cultivator. If he wasn't, how could he use lightning-style magic? Mutants? Yi Mo thought of this word. That mutant power was too weak for him. Even if he had been struck, he wouldn't have gotten hurt. The Americans had sent a few mutants to capture Ning Qingxue. It seemed they cared a lot about that Japanese organization. Yi Mo destroyed the bodies casually and called Ning Qingxue. Ning Qingxue was about to enter stage 2 and had a lot of fireball charms, so she should be capable of dealing with a few mutants. There was also Luo Fei, who was a black level to take into account. Ning Qingxiwe was about to enter stage 2 and had a lot of fireball charms, so she should be capable of dealing with a few mutants. There was also Luo Fei, who was a black level to take into account. That night, Yemo went around Flowing Snake for a few hours, but still couldn't find that escaped mutant. The next morning, Yemo called out all the managerial staff of Flowing Snake. Before he left, he needed to have another meeting. Sui Wehua suggested that the first step towards independence should be the instatement of Flowing Snake's own protection unit and establishment of a simple legal system. So they copied China's legal system. After distributing the defensive artifacts, Yemo asked, "Who knows about mutants?" Mutants? The only thing most people there knew about Yemo was that he was good at making pills. So now that Yemo asked this strange question, they thought, is he a mutant? "I know some things," Suiwahua said. "There are many types of mutants, and though it is unknown how many there are, those who really have offensive capabilities to speak of number only 10 to 20 types. For example, fire-style mutants can use flames to attack, but if they aren't at a certain level, the flames do little damage to the human body." Seeing how Yemo was listening intently, she said again, "But once a mutant's power has been completely awakened, it is rather strong. To be exact, the World Mutant Association has ranked the mutant's power level into 10 levels. Fire-style mutants who barely control flames, for example, are level 1 mutants, also called primary mutants. The highest level is level 10. Those 8 and above are tertiary mutants. It's said that wind-style mutants have to be level 8 to be able to fly a short distance. Those are only theoretical data, though. Yemo could rest easy now. He was sure that level 8 would be very hard to reach. Even when reached, it would be similar to his wind control at most. In fact, everyone has some mutant power in them, but the situation and type can vary strongly. We sometimes randomly see sparkles on people. That might be because they're a fire-type mutant that can't control their power. One must have a certain body type and amount of talent to reach level 1. It could be said that mutants are very rare, and each one of them is deemed a national treasure, Suiwahua explained. Indeed, although I don't know it very well, but every single country has a mutant organization, most of which serve their own nation, Zhang Jian said. Only now did Yemo realize how valuable those people who came last night were. They were the elite of the country, and there didn't seem to be much of them. He just didn't know what level they had been at. It seemed like the U.S. really did take the Japanese incident seriously, even sending such important people. After everyone had left, Yemo sighed. He didn't know how many mutants there were in China, but Earth-level ancient martial artists were no bit inferior to those mutants. China was inferior when it came to both intel and military organization, though. There was no other reason than a lack of unity. Yemo had researched Chinese history, and it appeared that most of the Chinese wars had been lost due to either themselves or traitors. They often fought among themselves, preferring outsiders to win instead of their opponents. China was also far inferior in terms of technology. Yemo shook his head. Casting these thoughts aside, Yemo handed silver to Yu Miaodong. He was going to finish up his things and go back to cultivating while searching for Luoying. For State 9 Moon Sect. This was the second time Yemo came here. The first time was when he was searching for Luoying. Yemo once said that he was going to eradicate this evil place. It wasn't the first time that the 9 Moon Sect people offended him, but he had been very busy in the past and didn't have time to deal with them. Strictly speaking, the 9 Moon Sect was also in the ranges of Mount Qingshao. When Yemo came here today, he almost couldn't believe that this was the 9 Moon Sect's place. What was once a huge maze of structures now only had a few broken pillars and shattered walls. Burnt rubble laid everywhere. Yemo came down from the sky, scanning around with his spirit sense, and he soon saw some clues. There must have been a huge fight. Looking at the ruins, Yemo remembered Nya Shuang. Yi Emo didn't have any great impression of her. If she hadn't risked her life trying to send him news, perhaps he wouldn't have even helped her last time. Just as Yi Emo wanted to leave, his spirit sense stumbled upon an underground room. Although the entrance was blocked, Yi Emo could still scan his spirit sense in. The door wasn't very thick, and it couldn't block his spirit sense. There was a body inside. It was a bit sage, but it had a set of big red robes on it. Yi Emo thought of Nyahangi. This woman might be the master of that Nyahangi. She had some dried blood on the corner of her mouth. She probably had a huge battle with someone right before she died. She had a bag next to her, inside of which was an ancient sheepskin book. Yi Emo thought that it had to be the cultivation method of the Nine Moon sect. Yi Emo had no interest in it and didn't even want to go down. This stone room looked ghastly anyway. It was the kind of place where spirits and ghosts gather. Yi Emo shook his head, and just as he wanted to leave, 3 figures walked down the small, crooked mountain path, clearly heading to the Nine Moon sect. Nya Shuang. Although they were still far away, Yi Emo recognized her at first glance nonetheless. It seemed like that Lotus Life pill had saved her, but what was she doing here? Yi Emo didn't want to see Nya Shuang, so he hid. When Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned across them, he found that Nya Shuang's was already below yellow level. Last time he saw her, she was yellow level middle stage. If this went on, perhaps in some time, she would become an ordinary person. The 2 men who followed Nya Shuang were very bulky and carried some digging tools with them. They were just normal humans. Probably they had never cultivated. Yi Emo could immediately tell that Nya Shuang wanted to dig out the cave the old woman was in. It's here. Dig open this place first. As Yi Emo was lost in thought, Nya Shuang had already brought them to that underground room. The 2 men walked to where Nya Shuang was pointing at, but they didn't begin digging. Instead, they stared at Nya Shuang lustfully without shame. The 2 men walked to where Nya Shuang was pointing at, but they didn't begin digging. Instead, they stared at Nya Shuang lustfully without shame. Without Wan, Nya Shuang no longer had that succubus lure, but she was still much prettier than any celebrity. She looked feeble and like she needed protection. With her soft but very busted chest, she was very enticing. If there were a lot of people there, they would at most check her out a bit. But there was no one there, and the mountain was very steep. Moreover, birds rarely went up that high as well. If something happened there, no one would know. Nya Shuang looked like a young girl, and she had brought 2 bulky men there. No wonder they looked at her like that. Nya Shuang didn't seem to notice the way they stared at her. She just groaned. Keep digging. My master told me this is where she buried the gold. What? Are you saying there is gold here? One of the bulky men said excitedly. The other man also looked at her excitedly. Even the lust in his eyes had receded a lot. Yes. Hurry up and dig. I will treat you guys well, Nya Shuang ushered. The 2 men glanced at each other, and without hesitation started to dig with the shovels. Nya Shuang looked at them as they dug, instructing them on the side. Yi Emo sighed. Under Nya Shuang's seductiveness, their IQ had gone down to 0. It was suicide. Although Nya Shuang was below yellow level, she could easily take on these 2 who had never cultivated. That woman was still the same. Even though Wan had left, she still didn't take other people's lives seriously. But these 2 got what they deserved. Even if they hadn't lusted for Nya Shuang, Yi Emo believed that she wasn't going to let them go afterwards. Yi Emo shook his head. It was time to leave. If he stayed, all there was to see would be Nya Shuang killing them. Yi Emo had no interest in that. Just when Yi Emo was planning to leave, he saw another man come up the mountain road. He supported himself with 2 crutches, but he was still eerily fast. How could a man who had broken legs be that fast? Yi Emo immediately recognized this person. It was Nha Pai. He had broken his legs in Beijing. He was probably the big martial brother of the 9 Moon sect. He hadn't expected that guy to be here too. Without a doubt, he was there for the same reason as Nha Shuangshuang. Nha Shuangshuang was so weak that she didn't even notice his arrival and kept instructing the 2 men to dig. Nha Pai saw this and didn't approach them. He also found a place to hide while watching Nha Shuangshuang dig. If Nha Shuangshuang hadn't been here, Yi Emo would have killed him immediately, but he didn't want to talk to Nha Shuangshuang. Nha Shuangshuang seemed to have some feelings towards him. It was probably due to his cultivation method. Yi Emo didn't want to meddle with that sort of woman. He was disgusted at those who belonged to the 9 Moon sect. "I see the entrance," one man called out in excitement. Nha Shuangshuang took out a mine torch and said, "2 brothers, let's go in and have a look." The 2 men had already walked down the stairs, as Nha Shuangshuang followed behind. "What's wrong?" The man looked back and saw Nha Shuangshuang rubbing her ankle. "I think I twisted my ankle," Nha Shuangshuang said guiltily. "What the hell?" the man at the back muttered. Seeing that his pal had gone deep inside, he took the torch and said, "Wait here for me, I'll go down and have a look first." Before Nha Shuangshuang could reply, he went in. Nha Shuangshuang quickly called, "The thing is inside a stone room. You need to open the door to get it." The 2 men weren't in the mood to listen, and they just ran down rapidly. After the 2 had left, Nha Shuangshuang stood up with confidence and quickly got out of the cave. She waited on the side, facing the sun. Yi Emo's spirit sense scanned that the 2 men kept hitting the door, which wasn't thick. With their repeated strikes, it broke gradually and got shattered. But before the 2 men could see their gold, the bleak chi of evil spirits rushed out. They were invaded by that chi immediately, and they fell on the ground, writhing before dying. The chi in no time seeped out of the stone room and rushed onto ground. But as soon as the sunlight shone on them, they turned to dust. If Yi Emo hadn't had his spirit sense, he wouldn't have been able to see this either. No evil spirit could reach Nha Shuangshuang. They dissipated rapidly, and in half an hour they were all gone. Nha Shuangshuang exhaled at ease, and she approached the entrance of the cave again. Just when she wanted to go in, a bleak voice from hell sounded. "Martial sister Shuangshuang, some people really do meet at all points in life, don't they? You're finally willing to come back to our sect? Ha ha ha. It's you, Nha Pai." Nha Shuangshuang's expression changed. She had no hopes of victory against Nha Pai. "Why are you here?" Nha Shuangshuang knew that it was impossible for her big martial brother to have mercy on her. Nha Pai laughed cruelly. "How am I here? I followed you this time before you came back here. You tell me, how did I come here? Do you know how hard it was for me? I saw you every day, but I couldn't fuck you. I waited arduously, and today you finally came back to take the thing. I knew that old hag would tell you where she hid it. It was just as I expected. Ha ha ha. You've been following me." Nha Shuangshuang's face got pale. She'd been very careful that time, but she still got caught and followed for so long without noticing. Nha Pai sneered as he walked to her. "You be asterisk, TCH. I'm your big martial brother. How dare you not serve me?" "You colluded with Yi Emo to break my legs at Yanshui River. If I don't fuck you to death today, you will become my big martial sister." "What? When did I dash?" Nha Shuangshuang stopped. She saw that Nha Pai's legs were broken. That meant that the person she had seen before she died that day was Yi Emo. Nha Shuangshuang breathed heavily. No matter what, Yi Emo didn't just watch her die, nor let her fend for herself. If someone else or Nha Pai had come back, she didn't dare imagine what would have happened. She was satisfied. Yi Mo had managed to break Nya Pai's leg, and when he had mentioned him, he had a deep fear in his eyes. From this, she could see that Yi Mo was much stronger than Nya Pai. When she thought about that, Nya Shuang smiled. Be asterisk TCH while I take your virginity and strip you naked for everyone to see. We'll see if you can still smile. Nya Pai was angry at the fact Nya Shuang wasn't scared anymore. Nya Shuang knew that this day would be her last, so she smiled contemptuously. Nya Pai, can you even fuck a woman like me? Keep dreaming, you disabled man. Even if I die, I won't let a disabled man like you assault me. Then Nya Shuang took out 2 needles and tried to stab herself with them in the head. Do you want to die? I will grant you that wish, but not now. Nya Pai flung his hand, and a silver ray flashed. Nya Shuang's 2 needles had fallen in Nya Pai's hands. Why isn't that F** buddy of yours coming to save you today? Ha ha ha. You've been with him for so long, yet you're still a virgin? Does he have some problems with his manlyhood? Ahaha. I guess you can only give your first to your big martial brother now. Nya Pai laughed. Why isn't that F** buddy of yours coming to save you today? Ha ha ha. You've been with him for so long, yet you're still a virgin? Does he have some problems with his manlyhood? Ahaha. I guess you can only give your first to your big martial brother now. Nya Pai laughed. Nya Shuang looked at her empty hand and started to worry. She just remembered that Nya Pai was an Earth level master. She couldn't even kill herself in front of him. Before Nya Shuang could react, Nya Pai moved his crutches and dashed in front of Nya Shuang. He slapped her on the neck and snarled, Why don't you sleep for a while? After I take the thing, I will enjoy you and show you whether this big martial brother of yours is disabled or not. Nya Shuang fell down without resistance. Nya Pai was prepared to walk into the room, yet at the entrance, he suddenly found that there was already someone there. Nya Pai was shocked. He was an Earth level master. Even without his legs, no one should be able to come in front of him without him noticing. But he really hadn't noticed this person. Who are you? Nya Pai soon calmed down as he saw a young man in his 20s stand before him. Yi Mo sneered. After cutting off your legs and seeing you run away in the river, I didn't think I would see you again today. It really must be fate. It's you, Yi Mo. Nya Pai's heart sunk. He was really feeling regretful. He cursed himself for not thinking that Yi Mo might come today. Since Nya Shuang came, of course Yi Mo could come too. Nya Pai realized that there would be no way for him to escape today. Yi Mo was the strongest master he had ever seen. Although he wished to take revenge, he would rather never see Yi Mo again. Yet he'd still encounter him today. As Nya Pai was still dazed, Yi Mo threw out a few wind blades. Nya Pai was an Earth-level primary stage. Sure, but he was still killed by Yi Mo without any resistance. Yi Mo hadn't planned on going inside the cave, but since it was opened, he entered it and brought a bag out. The bag was made out of very good materials, but it wasn't attractive to Yi Mo. He opened the book in a casual way, but soon Yi Mo was stunned. This was a real Dao cultivation method. It was called the 9-Moon Evergreen Chant. This wasn't some evil cultivation method at all, and it was actually much stronger than those ancient martial arts cultivation methods. Even though this cultivation method could only make one reach the Qi gathering stage at most on Earth, it was invaluable. If Yi Mo didn't have his own cultivation method, and if this cultivation method wasn't meant for women, he would cultivate it for sure. Yi Mo opened the book and immediately understood why the 9-Moon sect members had been so evil. The introduction of the chant said, To fate, people are mere toys to play around with. It wants man to have death in life, to have life in death. Yet my Tao is one of longevity, using the self as the universe, the heart and liver as the heaven and earth, gathering the in essence cultivating the Yin soul. Forget the hollow and fake. See not, think not, hear not, worry not. There is neither internal nor external. Yi Mo sighed. It indeed clearly instructed how to absorb spirit chi of the heavens and earth as the basis of cultivating one's own soul. The inventor of this manual had to have been a genius. But she was born on this earth deprecated of spirit chi, so she could only write out the cultivation method up to the chi gathering tertiary stage. But her cultivation method was understood as men having to devour women's essence, yin, in order to cultivate. What was this? TL note: essence yin equals pretty much virgin chi, taking a woman's virginity while cultivating a special cultivation method which devours the essence yin. Yi Mo closed the book and sighed. This was a treasure gone to waste. He dumped it in front of Nia Shuang. It would be Yuo to her own fortune to see if she could understand it. If she couldn't, then even if he taught her, her progress wouldn't be high in the future. Putting it down, Yi Mo scanned Nia Shuang and ignored her afterwards. He stood on his flying sword and left. Not long after Yi Mo left, Nia Shuang woke up. She noticed that she was laying on the ground and was shook. She checked her clothes and saw that they hadn't been touched. Finally, she felt relieved, yet also confused. Did Nia Pai not rape her? It took a moment for her to see Nia Pai's body, which was split in half. Nia Shuang stood up in horror. Why was she still fine when Nia Pai had been killed? Who had saved her? Nia Shuang was dazed for a few seconds before seeing the bag on the ground. She opened it and found a jade jewel and the 9-moon evergreen chant. She immediately realized that someone had saved her and didn't take the thing. Who was it Thag was so generous? Both items were invaluable. Who could have dumped it like grass? Had Yi Mo come again? Nia Shuang immediately thought of Yi Mo, and with great sadness realized that other than Yi Mo, she didn't have a single real friend. Nia Shuang dumped Nia Pai's body and left as fast as she could. She wasn't the only person who knew about the sect. Yi Mo found the place that the man had drawn for him, but it had no clues left anymore. Sichuan's Mount Qingshao was where one of the origins of Chinese Taoism lay. The tallest peak, Peak Laojun, was 2,363 meters above sea level. It wasn't as beautiful as Mount Qingcheng, so it wasn't as famous. Nevertheless, it still became one of China's protected areas 20 years ago. This place was steep and lacking spirit chi, so Yi Mo really didn't know why the Broken Fist Hall had chosen this place to establish their sect. Still, Yi Mo had come to find Zhang Zhihui today, so he had to go see their sect. Yi Mo only spent a little more than 10 minutes to find the sect. This sect was located in the mountains. Yi Mo couldn't help but commend the ancients for building this place on this steep mountain. There were cliffs everywhere. On the top of the mountain, one could read the 3 blurry words, Broken Fist Hall, showing its past glory. Yi Mo walked in. It was very quiet inside. Yi Mo sighed. It seemed that Zhang Zhihui had agreed to his words and annihilated everyone here, but he had never returned. Yi Mo pushed open the front door to the main hall, and there was a loud creak which seemed eerily dominant in the middle of the silence. All the chairs were covered in dust. Yi Mo scanned outwards with a spirit sense, and there was no one around as expected. But when his eyes fell on the painting of the Broken Fist Hall's ancestor, his eyes went cold. A dried human head covered in dust was sitting in the middle of the candle table. This head was Zhang Zhihui's head. Zhang Zhihui was killed, and his head was here? Was there someone in the Broken Fist Hall stronger than Zhang Zhihui? Yi Mo took down the head, and in his rage, he kicked the drawing and shattered the tables. Afterwards, Yi Mo found a good spot and buried the head before making an epitaph which said, "Brother Zhang, you died for my sake. Thus I shall avenge you." Then, Yi Mo suddenly came to realization. Zhang Zhihui had definitely annihilated the Broken Fist Hall. But if he was still killed afterwards, wouldn't that last survivor target the Zhang family as well as Flowing Snake? If the person who killed Zhang Zhihui wasn't from the Broken Fist Hall, why would he put Zhang Zhihui's head there? Concluding this, Yi Mo couldn't stay here anymore. He felt like there was something he'd missed, but wasn't able to think of what it could be. Yi Mo was pretty certain that his guess would be right. If the Broken Fist Hall really did have such a master, he would definitely try to get revenge. Even if he couldn't find out that Yi Mo had his base of power in Flowing Snake, he would go to the Beijing Yi family. Yi Mo was pretty certain that his guess would be right. If the Broken Fist Hall really did have such a master, he would definitely try to get revenge. Even if he couldn't find out that Yi Mo had his base of power in Flowing Snake, he would go to the Beijing Yi family. Even if he didn't, he would definitely go to the Xianjiang Zhang family. Yet, he hadn't gone to find him, nor the Zhang family. This was strange. Someone who could kill Zhang Zhihui had to be at least at the latter Earth level stage. This kind of person shouldn't be afraid of him. Yi Mo believed that what happened in Jiansang couldn't have spread out. At most, some people maybe knew that he'd killed multiple Earth level middle stage and primary stage He-Lu sect members. Before Yi Mo left, he really wanted to burn this place down. But because it must have been hard for the ancients to build this place, he didn't do it in the end. Although he had no idea who might have killed Zhang Zhihui, Yi Mo still called Sui Wahua to tell her about it so that she could be on alert. Before Yi Mo could dial the number, though, his phone rang. Yi Mo frowned. Normal numbers couldn't dial him, so who was this? President, the call has gone through. Somewhere in a high-level mansion in Beijing, a caller grabbed the phone in excitement. What? I'm coming. Almost instantly, Han Zixin rushed to the phone and grabbed it. Old brother Yi, your phone is really hard to reach. I told these dialers to call your phone constantly 24/7 for more than 10 hours to finally reach you. Haha. But it's my luck that I could reach you at all. Han Zixin's cheerful laughter sounded. Yi Mo was speechless. This Han Zixin really had his ways. The first time when he was in Hong Kong, he called for a few days non-stop. And now, as soon as he took out his phone, it was reached again. Elder Han, what's up this time? Yi Mo asked speechlessly. He was so busy now that he couldn't even deal with his own things and cultivate. He really didn't want any further matters to deal with. Han Zixin laughed awkwardly. Sorry, I really need your help this time. Your stay in Beijing last time was really short, so I was thinking Yi Mo quickly stopped him and said, Old Han, it's not your style to stutter. If there is something up, just say it. Han Zixin said, I really desperately need your help. Can you come to Beijing? It's hard to talk on the phone. Yi Mo fell silent for a couple of seconds and said, Okay, wait for me. I'll come over in the afternoon. Han Zixin wasn't a bad person, and he had helped him many times. Even when the Heaven Squad were looking for trouble with him, Han Zixin still stood on his side. Now that he was in desperate need of help, Yi Mo had to help. Yi Mo wanted to go to Ninghai and take his sister, Tang Beiwei, to Flowing Snake and cultivate there for a while before going to the inner hidden sects, but now it seemed he could only go to Beijing. Yi Mo called Su Yuehua first before heading to Beijing. Although Yi Mo didn't know why Han Zixin needed him, Yi Mo knew that Han Zixin knew what was or wasn't appropriate. He wouldn't trouble him with some small things, even if he had helped him. Han Zixin didn't expect Yi Mo to come this quick. He had only called an hour ago, yet Yi Mo was already in his house. What made him depressed was that every time Yi Mo came, his guard seemed to be just for show. Can't you just knock the door? Are you having an affair in daylight? Yi Mo asked confusedly and started to study Han Zixin up and down. You're having an affair? Han Zixin's face went black. He was a supreme general, yet now he was being questioned whether he was having an affair. That's right, since you aren't, and since you're the one who called me. Why care about some complicated gestures? Tell me, why did you call me here today? Hearing this, Han Zaishin smiled brightly, making Yi Mo doubt whether he wasn't perhaps an actor. Yenner, go help me make brother Yi some tea. Use the premium grade West Lake Dragon, while tea the old bandit gave me last time. Han Zaishin quickly pulled a chair for Yi Mo to sit on. Yi Mo sat down and said, Old Han, don't worry about that tea for now. Tell me why you need me first. You know that I've been really busy lately. I was just in Sichuan before then coming over. Han Zaishin's face went black. Yi Mo was talking nonsense. 1 hour from Sichuan to Beijing? Who was he tricking? Even if Yi Mo went by plane, it would be more than 1 hour. But Han Zaishin wouldn't share these thoughts out loud, so he said with a smile, Brother Yi, you know that all I have is this precious granddaughter Han Yen of mine. This time, I need you to help her a bit. Brother Yi, please have some tea. Han Yen made a warm cup of dragon well, and the aroma was good indeed. Yi Mo looked at Han Yen in surprise and said, Brother Han, your granddaughter seems very well. What does she need my help for? Han Yen heard this and seemed to want to say something, but eventually didn't. In the past, she wouldn't even have cared about Yi Mo's words. But now she knew he was someone very powerful. Han Zaishin sighed and said, I'm sure, brother, that you know about the hidden sects. But have you heard of the hidden sect tournament? Hidden sect tournament? Yi Mo had heard about it more than once. There was one every 3 years. Last time when he met Mo Kong, he said that it had been changed to once every 5 years and that the location had changed to some city. What did this have to do with Han Yen? Thinking about this, Yi Mo said subconsciously, Of course I do, but hasn't it passed already? Passed? Who said so? Han Yen looked at Yi Mo strangely. Yi Mo felt his nose awkwardly. I don't know, maybe I heard wrong. I knew you would know about it. Han Zaishin clapped his hands and laughed. Han Zaishin continued, Han Yen is representing her sect for this tournament, and I want you to help. You want me to instruct her? Yi Mo studied Han Yen. Her power was a bit too low. Yellow level tertiary stage. Was the standard this low? Han Zaishin stood up excitedly and said, If you could instruct her then, that would be even better. Yi Mo waved his hand helplessly. I cultivate different techniques from her, so no point in instructing her. Tell me, how else can I help? Although his relationship with Han Zaishin wasn't bad, he didn't have that much qi increasing pills, so unless Han Zaishin mentioned it himself, he wouldn't use them. Hearing this, Han Zaishin wore a disappointed look, but that face immediately faded. He said fervently, Yenner's sect is called the Guanghan sect. It's a very small sect. Although it's an outer hidden sect, it ranks at the very bottom. A sect like hers can only come to the tournament once every 3 times, which is 9 years. Now that it's 5 years in between every tournament, Guanghan sect can only come every 2 times. Each time they only have 1 spot. Yi Mo frowned. If it's that prejudiced, then why go? Han Yen smiled bitterly, because the prize is very good each time. If you can enter the top 30, you get a black rising pill and a 500 million reward. The top 10 win those and an earth level cultivation method on top. The top 3 can enter a spirit pond to cultivate in for 3 months. It's said that 1 month in there is more efficient than 1 year on the outside. Other than this, everyone gets a pill to reach the earth level. This isn't even the main thing. The main thing is a secret reward that the top 30 all have a chance of getting. Yi Mo thought, could that be a spirit well? If it was, then no matter how powerful the hidden sects were, he would be taking it for himself. As for the other rewards, they didn't interest GMO. In fact, what I want the most is the top quality black rising pill. I don't even hope for the top 10, Han Yen said. In that case, why don't you just go compete? What can I help you with? Yemo asked strangely. Han, Yen said with some embarrassment, because during the tournament period there have been frequent cases of killing before the tournament. So each sect sends a master to protect the contestant. We don't have a master in our sect, and my master is still recovering from her failure to reach the Earth level. So you want me to protect you? Yemo asked. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.